Chapter 151. Ning Qing found it very strange that Meng Jingxiu would suddenly think of such an unrelated matter, but he still gave an "n" sound and said, "I often carry people on my back, you are already the fifth." When Meng Jingxiu asked about this matter, Ning Qing once again thought of Ning Ruolin, the younger sister that he had carried on his back countless times. He did not know how she was doing now. A faint ray of light suddenly interrupted Ning Qing's train of thought. This ray of light was sweeping towards Ning Qing's direction. But this light brought with it an extremely dangerous feeling. Ning Qing did not even think about it, as he directly fell down. Because Ning Qing fell down without any warning, Meng Jingxiu, who was being carried on Ning Qing's back, turned her head and directly saw the endless killing intent. If it was an ordinary girl, then she would have already screamed. Meng Jingxiu's face was somewhat pale. She knew that once she fell into this black hole-like abyss, then she would definitely die. At this time Ning Qing's feet were nailed to the blue bricks that were less than a foot in diameter. His whole body and the horizontal line formed a slope of less than 45 degrees. But his feet were firmly nailed to the blue bricks, and did not fall into the black hole-like abyss under his feet. Ning Qing had just fallen down, when a ray of light brushed past Ning Qing's nose. Even Ning Qing's hair was fluttering in the wind. After the ray of light passed, Ning Qing once again stood on top of the blue bricks, but his forehead was also oozing with tiny beads of sweat. Senior apprentice brother Ning, that ray of light a moment ago seemed to have a trace of killing intent. Meng Jingxiu whispered in Ning Qing's ear. Ning Qing replied in a sinking voice, "That was the axe trace killing intent a moment ago. I thought that this place was just a black hole. I did not think that there would be an axe trace killing intent that is difficult to guard against. It seems that wanting to leave this place would be very difficult." There was also a sentence that Ning Qing did not say, that was the axe trace killing intent that had a faint killing intent. Once he encountered this kind of axe trace killing intent without any killing intent, then it would be even more difficult for him to avoid it. Senior apprentice brother Ning, I believe that since there are these things here, then it is definitely man-made. The heavens will never seal off all paths. If it is man-made, then it is even more impossible to seal off one's path. If it really was a dead end, then there would not be such a blue brick to rest on. Meng Jingxiu comforted Ning Qing with a sentence. Ning Qing shook his head and spoke, "The things in this place are really not necessarily man-made. The blue bricks under our feet might have been arranged by a powerhouse using an array formation, but this bottomless chasm filled with killing intent might have originally existed here. I suspect that this person built a cave abode here for the sake of these black holes. What is the use of these ravines?" Meng Jingxiu had almost forgotten about her and Ning Qing's situation. It is possible to cultivate killing intent. It is even possible to cultivate something other than killing intent. However, my knowledge is limited and I have yet to figure out what it is. Ning Qing said, when he saw these gullies, he immediately felt that this place was the best place to cultivate his killing intent. As Ning Qing spoke, several axe traces filled with killing intent swept over. One of them did not even have any light. Fortunately, Ning Qing was extremely cautious, as such he was able to avoid these axe traces. But Meng Jingxiu, who was on Ning Qing's back, was very clear that this matter was not that simple. She suddenly said, "Big brother Ning, if you put me down, can you leave this place by yourself?" Ning Qing gave a smile and spoke, "Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, you are thinking too much. I have never given up on my friends, not to mention a fellow apprentice brother and sister of the academy. If we can go out, then we can all go out together. If we cannot go out, then we can all stay here together. Besides, this place is filled with axe shadows filled with killing intent. If we leave this place, then where can we go?" Meng Jingxiu was silent. She suddenly found that she did not understand Ning Qing at all. Ning Qing also did not speak again, as he continued to extend out his spiritual consciousness, trying to confront the gloomy killing intent in this ravine, while at the same time he was also constantly on guard against the surrounding axe traces filled with killing intent. The two of them were silent. Meng Jingxiu was silent because she was thinking of something, while Ning Qing was completely focused on dealing with these axe traces filled with killing intent. Not knowing for how long, Meng Jingxiu suddenly opened her mouth and asked, "Senior apprentice brother Ning, are we not going to be able to get out?" Ning Cheng was silent for a while, before he replied, "Now I am not sure if we can get out, but until the last moment, I will absolutely not give up." Meng Jingxiu gave an "n" sound, and once again asked, "Senior apprentice brother Ning, you said that you carried 5 people on your back, were they all girls?" "Yes." Ning Cheng replied truthfully. "Are they all your friends?" Meng Jingxiu asked again. Ning Cheng thought for a moment and said, "To be exact, 2 of them are not my friends, but the other 3 are my friends, moreover you know 2 of them." "Who are they?" Meng Jingxiu seemed to want to use this kind of continuous questioning, to dispel the thoughts in her heart. "You should know Yu Ying and Ji Luofei, there is also a little nun called an Yi, she is a very cute little girl." Ning Cheng once again thought of an Yi who was like a piece of white paper, he did not know how an Yi was doing now. "Who is not your friend?" Ning Cheng thought of Ning Rulan and Ji Luofei, and suddenly missed them in his heart, as he casually replied, "There is also my younger sister Ning Rulan and my fiancée Ji Luofei, they are my relatives." If he had to say that he still had relatives, then Ning Cheng found that he only had Ning Rulan and Ji Luofei. As long as he could get out of this place, he would be able to see Ji Luofei again, but as for Ning Rulan, he might never be able to see her again. Hearing Ning Cheng talk about his younger sister and fiancé, her mood seemed to fluctuate somewhat. Meng Jingxiu tactfully did not continue to ask, as she remembered her own matters. "Huh." After a long period of silence, Ning Cheng suddenly gave out a startled cry. "What's wrong, senior apprentice brother Ning?" Meng Jingxiu quickly asked. Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised and spoke, "I understand, this is not only a place to comprehend the axe intent, but also a place to cultivate the axe intent, it is also a place to cultivate one's spiritual consciousness, unexpectedly there is such a good place in this world." Not waiting for Meng Jingxiu's cultivation, Ning Cheng once again spoke, "I have been using my spiritual consciousness, but in addition to the exhaustion of my spiritual consciousness is still extending. There is a kind of aura in this place, when you extend your spiritual consciousness to a certain extent, the aura in this place will actively nourish your spiritual consciousness. In other words, it can allow you to continuously cultivate your spiritual consciousness in this place. I am sure that my spiritual consciousness has already grown a lot." How long has it been, but Ning Cheng could feel that his spiritual consciousness had grown a lot. If he cultivated in this place for a long time, then wouldn't the strength of his spiritual consciousness be heaven-defying? This place indeed prevented one's spiritual consciousness from extending further, but in this place that prevented one's spiritual consciousness from extending further, if he could extend his spiritual consciousness further, then wouldn't it mean that his spiritual consciousness would also increase? Meng Jingxiu quickly put aside her own messy thoughts, and imitated Ning Cheng, as she extended her spiritual consciousness out. Sure enough, she also felt a kind of warm nourishing aura coming from her spiritual consciousness. This kind of nourishing spiritual consciousness aura, with a hint of killing intent, it should be a person who specializes in cultivating spiritual consciousness attacks, and came to this place to cultivate his spiritual consciousness. Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, you should also cultivate your spiritual consciousness. I want to cultivate my spiritual consciousness. Let's see if I can extend my spiritual consciousness to a further distance, then I would be able to find the way out. Ning Cheng spoke out his thoughts. Meng Jingxiu did not wait for Ning Cheng to speak, as she immediately extended her spiritual consciousness, and began to cultivate. Meng Jingxiu was a cultivator who had seen the world, so of course she knew the benefits of having a powerful spiritual consciousness. Time slowly passed by as Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu cultivated. Ning Cheng was constantly avoiding some of the axe traces and killing intents, while at the same time he was constantly trying to extend the range of his spiritual consciousness. Not knowing how long had passed, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness suddenly touched an invisible barrier. Ka, a sound transmitted from Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness seemed to have suddenly broken through this barrier, and extended into a brand new world. A similar blue brick platform appeared in the range of Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng was happy in his heart, as he quickly spoke up, I found the next place to stay, let's go there and talk about it. Ning Cheng did not wait for Meng Jingxiu to answer, as he directly brought out a flying sword and flew towards the blue brick platform that he had just discovered. A powerful killing intense suction force transmitted over, almost pulling Ning Cheng along with the flying sword into the deep ravine. Fortunately, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, compared to before, had improved by more than a grade. Under the superimposition of his true essence and spiritual consciousness, the flying sword quickly got rid of this powerful suction force, and in a twinkling of an eye left. Ning Cheng stood on the new blue brick platform, and once again felt the binding force of his spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng was even more sure that this was the place to condense his spiritual consciousness. In the past 3 days, Ning Cheng did not know how many blue bricks he had come across. He was sure that once he left this place, his spiritual consciousness would at least double in strength. His spiritual consciousness was already very strong. If it doubled in strength, then what would it be like? Ning Cheng suddenly looked forward to this gloomy ravine filled with killing intents. A powerful spiritual consciousness meant that one's strength was formidable, and what he needed the most right now was strength. When Ning Cheng once again landed on top of a blue-colored brick, another axe trace filled with killing intent swept over him. Towards this kind of axe trace filled with killing intent, Ning Cheng was already accustomed to it. In these past few days, he did not know how many times he had experienced this kind of axe trace filled with killing intent, but he had also been swept by it several times, causing him to be injured. But Ning Cheng soon became aware of the difference. This axe trace filled with killing intent was completely different from the axe trace filled with killing intent that he had seen before. This axe trace filled with killing intent was not because he had dodged it, but rather it had directly locked onto him. Ning Cheng had obviously dodged this axe trace filled with killing intent, but that killing intent had casually made a big turn, and brushed past Ning Cheng's waist, leaving behind a not shallow wound. Ning Cheng's whole body was in a state of revolving true essence, when this wound suddenly split open, and the blood that was flowing rapidly instantly sputtered out. Ning Cheng did not seem to know that he was injured, and was still standing on top of the blue brick, as if he was thinking of a very important thing. Chapter 152. Meng Jingxiu, who was behind Ning Cheng, quickly stopped the bleeding from Ning Cheng's wound. She took out a spiritual grass and bit it before sprinkling it on top of his wound. I understand. Ning Cheng seemed to be suddenly enlightened, as he muttered. Understand what? Meng Jingxiu subconsciously asked a sentence. Ning Cheng laughed. Killing intent can also be controlled, as long as your spiritual consciousness is strong enough, and flexible enough. It turns out that cultivating spiritual consciousness, in addition to spiritual consciousness attacks, there is also such a benefit. Once he could control the killing intent in the angry axe's 3 forms, then even if he faced an opponent who was much more powerful than him, he would still have room to maneuver. If he could really do this, then wouldn't his strength have more than doubled? That would be several times the increase. I also know one more thing. Ning Cheng suddenly remembered the Lan country's imperial jade seal. He already knew how to refine this imperial jade seal. The imperial jade seal's restriction was indeed amazing. If a cultivator's cultivation was not good enough to refine it, but once he comprehended the axe's killing intent to refine the imperial jade seal, then wouldn't he be able to succeed? What is it? Meng Jingxiu asked again. Ning Cheng did not answer her this time, but just smiled and said, we can go out now. Comprehending the control of the killing intent here, he could freely fly above the ravine. The axe trace's killing intent that would come out anytime and anywhere had already lost its effect on him. Meng Jingxiu found that Ning Cheng's speed had increased a lot, and in just a short time, Ning Cheng had already landed on the ground. When Meng Jingxiu looked back, she found that the blue bricks, the gloomy ravine, and the axe trace's killing intent that would sweep out anytime and anywhere, had all disappeared without a trace. They were now standing on the ground, although the surrounding spiritual qi was also good, but it was still far from the feeling they had after entering the stone door. Did we come out? Meng Jingxiu could not help but call out in surprise. Ning Cheng put down Meng Jingxiu and said, if I have not guessed wrong, then this is the real ancient immortal ruins, you can take a look. Meng Jingxiu did not need Ning Cheng to say anything, she could already see it, there was a small spiritual grass garden in front of it, and she did not know what kind of wood was used to build a small house. I saw a rank 7 spiritual grass. Meng Jingxiu called out in surprise. Ning Cheng sighed and spoke, not only are there rank 7 spiritual grasses, but there are also rank 7 and above spiritual grasses. Unfortunately, they're all dead. Meng Jingxiu discovered that the rank 7 spiritual grass that she had seen a moment ago had already withered. She took a few steps towards the side of the rank 7 spiritual grass, but found that this rank 7 Ning Cheng had long since lost its spiritual nature. What's the matter? Meng Jingxiu subconsciously turned around and asked. Ning Cheng spoke in a regretful tone, because the spiritual qi here is insufficient, all the spiritual qi is absorbed by the spiritual grasses. High-grade spiritual herbs required more spiritual energy, especially when they had just withered and were about to sprout again. It was unknown how many years it had been here, but the spirit herbs had withered season after season. Finally, the spirit qi became thinner and thinner, and some high-grade spirit herbs withered and could no longer germinate. If we had come back after a period of time, there wouldn't be any level 6 spirit grass left. Meng Jingxiu also sighed, although in the Yixing mainland, there were some spiritual grasses that could grow for tens of thousands of years, but that was only under a specific environment. Moreover, there couldn't be any other spirit herbs in the surroundings. If there was a spirit herb that had grown for tens of thousands of years and there were other spirit herbs that were tens of thousands of years old in the surroundings, then this place would definitely be a land of spirit essence. We should be the first ones to arrive here after entering the ancient ruins. Ning Cheng looked around at the empty surroundings, as he spoke with a slightly complacent tone. They were the last to enter, and in the end, they were the first to reach the real cave abode. Meng Jingxiu happily spoke, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, let's hurry up and collect the spiritual grasses. Ning Cheng shook his head and spoke, since it is an immortal cave, then it must have some good things. Let's go to that wooden house first, then we'll go gather spirit herbs. Meng Jingxiu followed Ning Cheng into the wooden house. The inside of the wooden house was very spacious, there was only a wooden table in the middle of the wooden house. There were 2 rings on the wooden table and nothing else. These are 2 storage rings. Meng Jingxiu said in a pleasantly surprised voice. Other than some of the core disciples of the major academies, for Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu, this kind of storage ring was simply too tempting. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness also swept towards the 2 rings and confirmed that they were indeed 2 storage rings. Meng Jingxiu did not reach out to take it, rather she looked at Ning Cheng. For her, Ning Cheng was the one in charge here. As Ning Cheng stared at the 2 storage rings, he suddenly felt a bit awkward in his heart. Moreover, one of the storage rings gave him a somewhat familiar feeling, but this familiarity was something that was hard to explain clearly. After Ning Cheng looked at it for a long time, he suddenly reached out and grabbed one of the storage rings. A faintly discernible aura directly penetrated into Ning Cheng's zifu. Ning Cheng was the first to feel it. His meridians had already been remolded by the mysterious yellow origin, as such even if there was a faintly discernible aura, it would not be able to deceive his senses. This aura was definitely not a good thing. Ning Cheng subconsciously let the Star River Spirit swallow this aura. In fact, even without Ning Cheng's instructions, the Star River Spirit was already eager to give it a try. The Star River Spirit seemed to feel that this aura had a very good taste. Now that it received Ning Cheng's instructions, the Star River Spirit suddenly rolled up a hot aura from the zifu, and swallowed the faintly discernible aura. That faintly discernible aura was as if it was on fire, as it escaped from Ning Cheng's zifu like an electric current. Even with such speed, it was still swept away by the Star River Spirit by 99%. You unexpectedly have such a terrifying fire, just who the hell are you? a hoarse and frightened voice abruptly sounded out, as a vague ferocious figure appeared in the middle of the wooden house. This is an essence spirit, a moment ago it tried to seize. Meng Jingxiu's face turned pale, as she subconsciously took a few steps back. Although her cultivation was not high, but it did not mean that she did not understand what it meant to seize a body. A moment ago it was a possession, but she did not know why, but this kind of possession did not succeed. Ning Cheng was extremely calm. This essence spirit wanted to rush into his Zifu to hide, and then look for an opportunity to seize his body, but he did not expect that this essence spirit would just enter his Zifu, and would immediately be discovered by him. At this time this essence spirit had already been swallowed up by the Star River spirit by 99%, as such he could easily kill this essence spirit that was already beginning to dissipate, so he was not in a hurry, and just asked in a slow voice, "Did you just want to seize my body? Who do you think you are? This father wanted to seize your body because of you. Obediently let this father seize it, it would be your good fortune." Although this essence spirit was incomparably faint, but its words were incomparably arrogant. Ning Cheng pointed to another ring on the table, and asked in a cold voice, "Where is the owner of this ring?" He already knew who this ring belonged to. The aura of this ring was exactly the same as the aura of the mirror that he had obtained. In other words, this ring and the owner of the mirror were the same. Since the ring was here, then where did the owner go? This thin essence spirit in front of him was the biggest suspect. Haha, Han Xiang, that bitch, was first raped and then killed by this father. This essence spirit was still arrogantly shouting, when Ning Cheng did not hesitate to throw out a ball of flame. This essence spirit issued a pitiful scream, as it continued to curse Ning Cheng from within the flames. Ning Cheng suddenly felt that something was wrong, as he suddenly withdrew the flame. As Ning Cheng withdrew the flame, the essence spirit subconsciously asked, "Why didn't you burn it?" Hearing these words, Ning Cheng felt a chill run down his spine. This essence spirit had not only not weakened under his flames, but on the contrary strengthened. His essence building true fire was not only not a killing weapon for this essence spirit, but on the contrary was a tonic. If he had not discovered it early, then the opposite party would have been nourished by him, perhaps it would have instantly killed him and Meng Jingxiu. The Star River essence could deal with the essence spirit that had entered his Zifu, but it did not mean that it could deal with this essence spirit that was free. Hearing the other party's subconscious words, Ning Cheng was even more sure that his guess was correct. Even if he had many questions, he did not dare to continue to ask, and forcibly directed the Star River essence to rush out of his Zifu. He must definitely kill this essence spirit. The Star River essence once again spewed out a terrifying hot aura, which directly rolled up this essence spirit. "You can't kill me." This essence spirit finally panicked. Ning Cheng's essence building true fire was a tonic for him, but the flame aura of the Star River essence spirit was like a death sentence for him. He did not even have half a shred of resistance. Towards this essence spirit's begging for mercy, Ning Cheng did not have even half a shred of softness in his heart. This guy is really cunning, I almost fell into his trap. After extinguishing this essence spirit, Ning Cheng put away the Star River essence spirit, and spoke with a lingering fear. The opposite party, from his words, judged that he had a favorable impression of Han Xiang, and directly began to provoke him, and then let him burn him with the flame. Who is Han Xiang? With the essence spirit being extinguished by Ning Cheng, Meng Jingxiu's anxious mood finally calmed down. If I have not guessed it wrong, then she should be the owner of this ring. Ning Cheng spoke, as he picked up another ring. Meng Jingxiu did not ask any further, as everyone had their own privacy. Ning Cheng handed the ring that he had obtained before to Meng Jingxiu and said, "This ring is for you. I will keep the ring that belonged to Han Xiang. I have a bit of a relationship with her." Ning Cheng had taken refuge in the immortal cave at the bottom of the river to recuperate, and had also advanced to the essence-building realm there. As such he had a good impression of Han Xiang. Meng Jingxiu waved her hand, as she took out a ring from her chest and said, "I don't want this ring, I have my own ring, it's just that I do not dare to take it out." Ning Cheng stared at the ring on Meng Jingxiu's chest, as he suddenly thought in his heart, did every woman hide their ring in this place? When Meng Jingxiu saw Ning Qing staring at her chest, her face immediately turned red, as she quickly stuffed the ring back into her chest. Ning Qing suddenly frowned. Junior apprentice Sister Jingxiu, let's go out first, there are some people coming here. When Ning Qing and Meng Jingxiu came out of the wooden house, the two figures who were confronting each other suddenly turned around and stared at Ning Qing and Meng Jingxiu. From the surprise in the eyes of the two people, it could be seen that the two people simply could not believe that someone had arrived here before them. Chapter 153. Meng Jingxiu whispered in Ning Cheng's ear, I know these two people, one is the genius of the Dragon and Phoenix 9-Star Academy, Chuan Yeping, and the other is the genius of the Guiyuan Yuan City, Guiyuan Yutang. They were the first to enter the killing intent restriction stone door, 9-Star Academy. Ning Cheng repeated the sentence in surprise. When he was in the Chongqing province, he was still talking about whether the Yixing mainland had an 8-star academy, but now even a 9-star academy had appeared. Meng Jingxiu gave an "n" sound and spoke, it is the 9-star academy. I heard that these two places and the Wunyan Academy that Yuing had entered are known as the Lu Continent's 3 major academies. Ning Qing asked again, since you said it like that, doesn't it mean that this Guiyuan Yuan City is also very great? Is it also a 9-star? I don't know about that. Previously, when these two people broke the killing intent restriction on the cave mansion's stone door, I heard the surrounding people talk about it. I heard that this Guiyuan Yuan City is just one of the Guiyuan clan cities. In other words, Guiyuan Yuan City belongs to the Guiyuan clan. So it turned out to be like this, for a clan to be able to stand side by side with a 9-star academy, this clan was truly remarkable. Ning Qing suddenly smiled and spoke, this clan should be one of the largest clans in the Yixing mainland, but this surname is really not flattering. Meng Jingxiu was stunned for a moment, but soon understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, and once again spoke in a low voice, I heard from others, that Chuan Yeping and Guiyuan Yutang are among the top 10 geniuses of the Lu continent below the profound core realm, and are the focus of their respective academies. Aren't the people who we focus on nurturing supposed to stay in the sect to cultivate like junior sister Danqin? How did you come to the Angry Axe Valley? Ning Qing subconsciously replied. In his impression, all the core disciples of the sects, disciples with heaven-defying aptitudes, had to be protected, not like a grassroots like him who ran around everywhere. Meng Jingxiu shook her head and spoke, that's not the case, I heard that in a genuine great academy, the more heaven-defying a disciple's qualifications are, the more they would want to go out and gain experience. However, they had many trump cards, so it was very difficult for them to die. If you stay in the sect to cultivate, no matter how high your cultivation is, you will still lack competitiveness. At this time, the two cultivators who were confronting each other had already walked towards Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu, as the two of them stopped about 10 meters away from Ning Cheng. The person on the left wore brown cultivator clothes. His eyebrows were long and slender, and his face was white and clean. His eyes were extremely bright, and his expression was calm. However, his entire body exuded a dangerous aura like that of a cheetah. The one on the right was slightly shorter, with bronze skin and thick lips. Unlike the person on the left, the explosive aura emanating from his body made it clear that he was not someone to be trifled with. Who are you? I believe that as long as, why have I never seen you before? The cultivator on the left wearing brown robes stared at Ning Cheng and asked in a deep voice. At the same time, he was even more puzzled as he stared at Meng Jingxiu at Ning Cheng's side. He had seen Meng Jingxiu a few days ago, when he had broken the killing intent restriction on the stone door, this woman seemed to be in the vicinity. But this woman only had the cultivation of true condensation 6th level, how could she come here? However, Meng Jingxiu was quickly ignored by him. He had already guessed that Meng Jingxiu coming here definitely had something to do with Ning Cheng. His spiritual consciousness was carefully observing Ning Cheng, and could vaguely feel that Ning Cheng only had the cultivation of early-stage essence-building realm. Ning Cheng could feel the vigilance of the other party, he also understood what was going on. Although there were no rank 7 spiritual grasses here, but there were still many rank 6 spiritual grasses. All of these things were useful to him. If it was just one person, then it would certainly be different if it was divided among several people. I have never seen you before. What's so strange about it? The Yixing mainland is so big. Could it be that everyone has seen a genius like me? Ning Cheng spoke with a smile. This person had not finished the first sentence, but Ning Cheng had already heard the meaning behind his words. That is, as long as they had some skills, he would have seen them before, or he should have seen them before. I have a nickname, called Waiting for You Every Day, who let you only come now. Ning Cheng had not even finished speaking, when that cultivator with the white skin frowned and spoke to himself, Waiting for you every day, who let you only come to kill. Could it be that this friend has been here for a few days, and has been waiting here every day for other people to rush through the angry axe lotus flower pond? That is why I call you Genius Killer. Just as Ning Cheng finished his sentence, this person had also finished talking to himself. Hearing the words Genius Killer, this cultivator with the white skin immediately understood that Ning Cheng was teasing them. Ning Cheng certainly knew that the two of them were the top 10 geniuses of the Lu continent below the profound core cultivators. Angry Axe Lotus Flower Pond. Ning Cheng did not think that the place that he had rushed through was as terrible as hell, would unexpectedly have such an elegant name. The reason why Ning Cheng said that, was because he was already prepared to fight. These two people were both at essence building 7th level. If they were to fight, Ning Cheng would not be afraid, but he was worried about Meng Jingxiu. Ha ha. This cultivator with the white skin laughed, and suddenly said, Genius Killer, this friend's nickname is really good. I am Dragon and Phoenix 9-Star Academy's Cui Nieping. The short essence building cultivator who came with him also spoke up, Lu continent's Gue Yuan City's Gue Yutang. Ning Cheng had thought that when these two people had just arrived, they had already confronted each other, and had even almost started fighting. Now that they saw an outsider like him, they would definitely not speak a single word, and would immediately start fighting. But he did not expect that these two people not only did not start fighting, but instead even reported their academy's name. Moreover, they looked very serious. God Wind Academy's Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was already prepared to fight, but the other party did not have such an intention. As such he would not continue to cause trouble. God Wind Academy. Cui Nieping and Gue Yutang glanced at each other. They could see the doubt in each other's eyes. They did not have the slightest impression of this God Wind Academy. Immediately the two of them knew that this God Wind Academy was definitely an unremarkable academy. Cui Nieping also no longer asked, but instead smiled and said, since elder brother Ning is able to cross the Angry Axe Lotus Flower Pond, and is also a genius killer, then presumably you are not an ordinary person. This Cui is ashamed. I was barely able to join the ranks of the Lu continent's geniuses, and was also barely able to cross the Angry Axe Lotus Flower Pond, so this Cui would like to experience the might of elder brother Ning's genius killer. Cui Nieping's tone looked very humble, but in fact it was filled with arrogance. He simply did not put Ning Cheng, this self-proclaimed genius killer, in his eyes. It was just that his self-cultivation seemed to be good, and did not point at his nose to ridicule and challenge him. But the words that came out of his mouth, was no different from pointing at his nose to challenge him. Although he had already issued a challenge, but Ning Cheng's expression was still calm. Cui Nieping finally raised his eyebrows in his heart. Elder brother Ning, could it be that you do not put me and Gue Yutang in your eyes, and even disdain to fight with us? The slightly shorter cultivator on the side laughed and said, if you want to challenge me, Gue Yutang, then you must first pass through Cui Nieping. I am not interested in fighting with a loser. Ning Cheng did not think that these two people did not even put the spiritual grasses in their eyes. They did not even mention the spiritual grasses, and unexpectedly just wanted to challenge him, and did not even ask him what he had obtained from the log cabin. Thinking of the purple-robed woman from the Wu Nian Academy who wore a veil over her face, Yi Mo was even more puzzled in his heart. Were the disciples of the big academies all so rich? So rich that they did not even care about the rank 6 spiritual grasses, and the good things in the immortal cave? Although this Cui Nye Ping and Gue Yutang did not care about the spiritual grasses, but it did not mean that Ning Qing did not care about them. Ning Qing thought until here, and also cupped his fists and smiled, since elder brother Cui wants to challenge me, then I will certainly not refuse. But I am a person who has not seen the world, and is not like elder brother Cui and elder brother Gue who come from a big academy. There are many spiritual grasses here that elder brother Cui and elder brother Gue do not care about, but I cannot let our fight destroy these spiritual grasses. Saying that, Ning Qing did not wait for Cui Nye Ping and Gue Yutang to answer, and directly said to Meng Jingxiu, junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, these two geniuses do not care about these spiritual grasses. In order to avoid them being destroyed in the fight, let's hurry up and dig them up first. Meng Jingxiu laughed in her heart, and quickly responded, as she rushed into the spiritual grass garden and began to dig up the spiritual grasses. Ning Qing also rushed over, and did not forget to look back at the stunned Cui Nye Ping on the side and said, elder brother Cui, wait for me for a while, after I finish digging up these spiritual grasses, I will immediately come and compete with you. Cui Nye Ping blankly looked at Ning Qing and Meng Jingxiu who were wantonly digging up the spiritual grasses, and said in his heart, who said that they did not care about these spiritual grasses. Rank 4 and above spiritual grasses, even if it was a 9-star academy, it was still a good thing, how could they not care about it? The disciples of the big academies certainly had to have the awareness and spirit of the disciples of the big academies. The winner of the match would naturally get more spiritual grasses, while the loser would naturally get less or nothing. Now that the match had not even started, and they were already snatching the spiritual grasses, wasn't this Ning Qing a bit too straightforward and petty? Gue Yutang almost followed behind Ning Qing as he rushed into the medicine garden. Elder brother Cui is from a 9-star academy, of course he would not care about these spiritual grasses, but I need to find my own cultivation resources, these things are also of great use to me. As he spoke, he began to dig up the spiritual grasses. When Cui Nye Ping saw this, he immediately knew that it would be impossible to divide the spiritual grasses between him and Ning Qing. At this time, being reserved was just an idiot. He did not hesitate to rush into the spiritual medicine garden, as he smiled and said, rank 4 and above spiritual grasses are very important to me, how could I not need them? The Dragon and Phoenix Academy is rich, but that is the resources of the academy, and not this Cui Nye Ping's. When Ning Qing saw this, he cursed in his heart, these guys were being reserved, but now that he had come to dig, they immediately exposed their true faces. He saw that Meng Jingxiu's digging speed of the spiritual grasses was really too slow, so he simply stopped digging one by one, and directly punched out towards the verdant spiritual grass garden in front of him. The formidable axe fist's killing intent directly penetrated into the spiritual grass garden under his feet. This was the axe line killing intent that he had just comprehended. The axe line loosened the soil under the spiritual grasses, but under the control of Ning Qing's powerful spiritual consciousness, it did not harm the spiritual grasses. After the surrounding spiritual grasses were completely loosened, Ning Qing reached out his hand, and countless spiritual grasses as if they had grown eyes, all of them broke free from the soil, and cleanly fell into Ning Qing's hands, as Ning Qing instantly put them into his storage bag. Ning Qing was secretly happy in his heart. Fortunately his spiritual consciousness had greatly increased in the angry axe lotus flower pond, otherwise he really would not have been able to do this. But he did not stop, as he quickly went to another large piece of lush green land, and once again punched out. Cui Nye Ping and Gue Yutang blankly stared at Ning Qing's roguish way of plundering the spiritual grasses, as they thought in their hearts, this was simply too shameless. Chapter 154. Both of them reacted very quickly and hastened the speed at which they collected the spiritual herbs. Unfortunately, the two of them did not have the same skill as Ning Qing, so when the spiritual grasses in the entire spiritual medicine garden were completely dug out, the two of them discovered that they did not even manage to get their hands on a tenth of the spiritual grasses. Looking at the barren spiritual grass garden, the two of them looked at each other in dismay. This Ning Qing was simply too ruthless. Not only was he ruthless, but his table manners were also ugly. Ning Cheng's impression of these two people had changed a lot. These two people were the geniuses of the Lu continent, and had always been respected by everyone. However, even though they knew that they couldn't snatch it from him, they only focused on speeding up instead of destroying it. Of course, it was also possible that these two fellows were determined to take advantage of him and thought that the spiritual herbs he gathered would ultimately help them. Elder brother Ning really has quick hands and feet. Cui Nie Ping, on seeing Meng Jingxiu give the spiritual grasses that she had collected to Ning Cheng, could not help but speak out in a sarcastic tone. Ning Cheng laughed. I did not expect that the two geniuses from the big academies would also come to snatch things from us cultivators from small places. Fortunately, the things are now equally divided among us. If you want to fight before, I can accompany you. If you don't want to fight, I'm leaving. Cui Nie Ping gave a sneer and said, Brother Ning's method of sharing it equally is really good. Since Brother Ning came here first, then presumably the things inside the small wooden house were also taken away by Brother Ning, right? Ning Cheng also did not deny it, and spoke in a very straightforward manner. That's right, there were a few things in the wooden house that I took away. Very well, then I will have a match with Brother Ning. However, since it is a match, then there must be a prize. Ning Cheng immediately understood the meaning of Cui Nie Ping's words, as he nodded in a very cautious manner. Brother Cui's proposal is good. Since it is a tournament, then it is necessary to have some sort of prize. Brother Cui was the one who suggested the competition, so I'll be the one to decide the prize. Cui Nie Ping had not yet said anything about the prize, when Ning Cheng took the initiative to speak. Cui Nie Ping thought about it but could not find any way to refute it. This competition was indeed proposed by him. Moreover, Ning Cheng said that he would be the one to decide the prize. This was not surprising at all. He couldn't just propose a duel and then set the wager. He frowned. According to his idea, if Ning Cheng lost, then he would have to take out the things that he had obtained from the wooden house, as well as all the spiritual grasses in this place. He was sure that he wouldn't lose, so he hadn't thought of what he should take out. Thinking till here, he took out a few inches high jade bottle and casually threw it. That jade bottle smoothly fell on a stone a few dozen meters away. This is the amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence that I obtained in the Angry Axe Valley. There is a whole bottle here. I don't know if Brother Ning can come up with something similar to the amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence. Ning Cheng, on hearing the words amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence, was immediately startled in his heart. He knew about the amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence. It was a rank 8 spiritual medicine. Moreover, it was something that grew naturally. Even the person with the highest cultivation in the Yixing mainland would not be able to remain calm in the face of this thing. But this essence-building realm cultivator in front of him unexpectedly took out such a good thing. It seems that the Angry Axe Valley really had a lot of good things, and was not the only one with good luck. The amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence was a supreme spiritual medicine that could repair a cultivator's meridians, just like when his meridians had been destroyed in the Thunder Fall Desert. If he did not have the mysterious yellow origin to reconstruct it, then the amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence would have been able to repair it. But who would take out the amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence to repair the meridians of an ordinary cultivator? The value of the amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence was many times more precious than a true condensation cultivator. Ning Cheng directly took out a ring and threw it on top of the stone. This ring is what I obtained from the wooden house. As for what is inside, I have not had the time to look at it. Cui Nie Ping, on seeing Ning Cheng throw out a ring, his eyes immediately lit up and said, Good, let's use your ring as the wager. When they came here, Ning Cheng had not yet had the time to collect the spiritual grasses from the spiritual medicine garden, so he also thought that Ning Cheng would definitely not come here much earlier than him. Since it was not much earlier, then he did not open the ring. An ancient cultivator's ring, even if there was only a single cultivation method inside, it would still make him rich. Originally he wanted to goad Ning Cheng into taking out all the spiritual grasses, but he did not expect that Ning Cheng would actually take out his ring. Not to mention him, even Gue Yutang's eyes were shining. It was obvious that he had taken a fancy to Ning Cheng's ring. Ning Cheng smiled and said, My wager is indeed enough, but Brother Cui, do you really want to use a trivial bottle of amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence as a wager? You have to know that this ring of mine belongs to an ancient cultivator. Even a bottle of pills inside might be more precious than your amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence. Brother Chui is bullying me because I come from a small place, and have not seen the world. Chui Nieping indeed had this kind of idea. Now that Ning Cheng had called him out, his face turned red, and quickly said, there is no such thing. This ancient cultivator has already fallen for such a long time. Even if there were pills inside his ring, they would have already been corroded. How could they be used again? Ning Cheng spoke in a neither fast nor slow manner. Brother Chui, you are just guessing. As for whether that ancient cultivator has fallen or not, I think that Brother Chui is also not sure. Maybe he had fallen not long ago. Besides, even if there were no pills inside the ring, there are still countless spirit stones, magical weapons, cultivation methods. Heh, I don't need to say anything else, right? If he did not have any good things, then how could he use a best quality spiritual artifact as an array flag for the killing intent restriction? Only Meng Jingxiu knew that what Ning Cheng said was the truth. The owner of this ring really had just fallen. Chui Nieping suddenly frowned. He also knew that what Ning Cheng said was not wrong. He had entered this immortal cave, wasn't it for the ring that Ning Cheng had just taken out? Thinking till here, he once again threw out a jade bottle, and then threw out 2 storage bags and said, this jade bottle is also a bottle of amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence. I have a total of 2 bottles, and they are all in here. As for the 2 storage bags, one of them contains spiritual grasses, and the other one contains spirit stones. In any case, he was sure that he would not lose, so he would just have to wait for a while to get his things back. Ning Cheng saw that Chui Nieping really did not intend to take out anything else, and reluctantly nodded. Well, since that is the case, then Brother Chui, please start. Chui Nieping, seeing that Ning Cheng had agreed to the bet, no longer spoke any more nonsense. With a clear shout, his whole body leapt up, and shot a punch towards Ning Cheng. Hey, does Brother Chui use his fists? I also use my fists. Ning Cheng saw Chui Nieping's fist coming towards him, and calmly spoke those words, as he also blasted out his fist. Chui Nieping and Ning Cheng were separated by more than 10 meters. He just casually took a step forward, and had already arrived in front of Ning Cheng. As this fist blasted out, the surrounding space instantly heated up. All the spiritual qi in the surroundings transformed into a killing intent, as it enveloped Ning Cheng within it. This killing intent was not only fierce and direct, but also did not overflow even half a bit. Meng Jingxiu and Gue Yutang, who were at the side, could only feel the heat from this fist, but were not able to feel the terrible killing intent contained in this fist. This was not a fight at all. Once one was caught in this killing intent, then it would only lead to death. Although Meng Jingxiu's cultivation was relatively poor, she could not feel the killing intent in Chui Nieping's fist, but that did not mean that she could not see it. If Ning Cheng was covered by this fist, then even if Ning Cheng did not die, he would at least lose a layer of skin. Meng Jingxiu had seen 2 essence-building cultivators fight with Ning Cheng. She was sure that those 2 essence-building cultivators were not as powerful as Chui Nieping, who only used his fists. Ning Cheng's fist compared to Chui Nieping's fist was even more insignificant. It was just like a small wooden boat in the middle of a crazy sea. At any time Chui Nieping's terrifying fist would completely destroy it. Boom boom boom. As the 2 fists blasted together, a burst of bone-cracking sounds resounded. Because the fist momentum collided with each other, it immediately dissipated. The imposing manner of the fist wind that dissipated, made Meng Jingxiu feel a stinging pain all over her body. She subconsciously retreated a few dozen meters away. Gue Yutang shook his head. He found that he had overestimated Ning Cheng. Chui Nieping's fist was obviously just a probing punch, but this probing punch had already broken the bones in Ning Cheng's hand. He simply would not have the opportunity to fight with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was sent flying upside down, but in his heart he was secretly startled. This Gue Yutang was not any weaker than him. In terms of fist path spells, Gue Yutang's comprehension was even deeper than his own. A moment ago he really did not use his full strength, but he also knew that Cui Nieping was just probing him. Just a moment ago the bones in his hand were not broken by Cui Nieping, but rather his own hand. Cui Nieping said in a flat tone, "If you only have this much ability, then I am very sorry for you." While speaking, Cui Nieping once again flew up, and once again blasted out a fist. This fist was completely filled with the aura of death. It was clear that he already intended to kill Ning Cheng. When Ning Cheng and he had the same strength, he would only propose a fight, but when he found that he could easily kill the opposite party, he, Cui Nieping, would absolutely not be lenient. When the crazy fist shadows blasted out, they unexpectedly brought out an endless fist light. These fist lights were just like sword lights, dazzling to the eyes. With a majestic imposing manner and the aura of death, Ning Cheng was completely shrouded in this fist light. A kind of bone marrow chilling sword intent seeped out. This killing intent under the influence of the fist light, completely sealed off Ning Cheng's path to survival. Ning Cheng only had one way to go, and that was to walk into the middle of this ice-cold sword intent, and let the death aura of the sword intent tear him into pieces. No wonder he was able to come here. It turned out that he had comprehended this kind of extraordinary sword intent. Ning Cheng finally understood. Moreover, he was able to stimulate the sword intent through his fist. This was similar to his axe fist, which stimulated the axe intent through his fist. From this it could be seen that Cui Nieping's main method was not his fist, but rather his sword. His fist was only the beginning to probe him, and finally found that he was not his opponent, so he simply used his fist to kill Ning Cheng. Although he used his fist, but what he blasted out was actually the cold sword intent. These disciples of the big academies really put on one set of words on the surface, but in reality they were actually acting in a different way, seeing him speak politely, and even put reason first. If they really started fighting, then hoping that they would be lenient, then it would simply be a dream. Once they thought that they could kill you, then they would absolutely not have even half a moment of leniency and hesitation. Chapter 155. But with such a sword fist, he wanted to kill him. It was simply looking down on Ning Cheng too much. Ning Cheng not only did not forcibly rush out of the range of Cui Nieping's sword intent fist, but on the contrary he once again took the initiative to get sucked in. At this moment Ning Cheng was completely wrapped up by Cui Nieping's sword intent killing force. As these sword intents began to tear Ning Cheng apart, Ning Cheng also blasted out a punch. Seeing Ning Cheng get sucked into the middle of the sword intent killing force by his own sword fist, Cui Nieping's mouth also revealed a trace of a sneer. He really thought too highly of Ning Cheng. Not everyone who could break through the angry axe lotus flower pond, were people like him in Gue Yutang. At this moment, he suddenly felt that something was wrong. A terrifying whirlpool of killing intent suddenly exploded in the middle of his sword intent. Ning Cheng obviously did not use any kind of magical weapon, but he could feel a huge angry axe exploding in the middle of his sword intent killing force. This anger axe was simply too terrifying. It directly swallowed up his sword intent killing aura and blasted it away. If that was the case, then Cui Nieping believed that he could still retreat. But this unexpectedly was not the end. After this powerful axe killing force swallowed up his sword intent killing force, it once again rolled up the surrounding killing force, condensing it into a single point, and exploded towards his chest. This was an axe fist. Moreover, the axe intent in this axe fist was much more powerful than his sword intent. Cui Nieping himself was able to integrate his sword intent into his fist. As such he was able to see through Ning Cheng's axe fist with just a glance. The formidable axe fist killing intent rumbled over. Cui Nieping knew that if he did not find a way to avoid this fist, then this fist would definitely tear him into pieces. This fist was simply too terrifying. Cui Nieping's left hand moved. The formidable sword intent in his left hand completely condensed into an invisible wall of true essence. Gotcha! Ning Cheng's fist exploded on his left fist. The true essence exploded, while at the same time a gotcha sound rang out from the center of the explosion. Cui Nieping knew that the bones in his left hand were broken, but he was actually relieved. his right hand also brought out a formidable sword intent imposing manner to block the gap in front of his chest. Bang! Another sound of true essence bursting out. Gotcha! A sound rang out. This time it was not the bones in Cui Nieping's hand that broke, rather it was the bones in Ning Cheng's hand that broke, and Ning Cheng simultaneously flew out upside down. Cui Nieping also retreated several steps, only then did he stand firm. Apart from his somewhat unsightly complexion, he was not seriously injured. To him, a fractured hand was not considered an injury at all. Gue Yutang looked at the ugly face of Cui Nieping with a faint smile and said, "Brother Cui, I really did not think that your sword fist that you were so proud of would actually be so cheap. This Ning Cheng I really want to meet." Cui Nieping's complexion was ugly to look at, but he did not answer Gue Yutang's words. He was recalling the process of his fight with Ning Cheng a moment ago. During this process, it seemed that Ning Cheng's injuries were slightly heavier than his, but why did he feel that he was the one who was at a disadvantage? "Senior apprentice Brother Ning, is your hand all right?" Meng Jingxiu hastily landed at Ning Cheng's side, and supported Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng took a few deep breaths and said, "Don't think that the bones in my hand are broken. In fact, my hand is not even the slightest bit injured, it's just that this guy is really powerful." On the surface, in the fight with Cui Nieping a moment ago, he seemed to have fallen into a disadvantageous position. Ning Cheng took a few deep breaths, and then once again walked back to his original position, and looked at Cui Nieping and said, "Brother Cui, although I took a few more steps back than you. But your hand is more broken than mine, from this it can be seen that you have fallen into a disadvantageous position. So, I think that you have lost." Meng Jingxiu blankly looked at Ning Cheng. She had always thought that Ning Cheng was a very realistic person. Even she could see that Ning Cheng had fallen into a disadvantageous position a moment ago. Whether it was the scene of the fight, or the final result. She did not expect that Ning Cheng would actually reverse the result. But what Meng Jingxiu did not expect was that Cui Nieping's complexion changed for a while, and then unexpectedly said, "That's right, I really did fall into a disadvantageous position a moment ago. Very well, then I will not be polite." Ning Cheng did not wait for Cui Nieping to finish speaking, and had already taken a step forward, and put away all the things on the stone. Cui Nieping's heart was dripping blood. He had only said that he had fallen into a disadvantageous position, and did not say that he had lost, but this guy had already put away all the things. But when he carefully thought about the situation a moment ago, he finally did not raise any objections. He was aware that things did not seem to be the same as what he felt. He was of course very clear about his own injuries. He had only broken a bone in his hand. But Ning Cheng had said that he had broken a bone in his hand. Didn't this mean that Ning Cheng's hand had never been broken from the beginning to the end? If Ning Cheng's hand had never been broken, then why did he hear the sound of bones breaking twice? Gue Yutang also looked at Cui Nieping. Ning Cheng had put away the things, but Cui Nieping unexpectedly did not raise any objections. This did not seem right. It was reasonable to say that Cui Nieping could still continue to fight. "Brother Cui, you finally made me look up to you. It seems that the things that you obtained in the Angry Axe Valley are far more than these." Gue Yutang also felt that it was very strange. Cui Nieping did not seem to be a person who was easy to talk to. When he was still hesitating, he suddenly heard Ning Cheng say, "Junior apprentice Sister Jingxiu, this time I have obtained a lot of spiritual grasses, and even obtained a ring. It seems that we can go now." Wait, Brother Ning's fist a moment ago contained the axe intent. Even Brother Cui also took the initiative to admit defeat. This Gue Yutang really admires you. I also want to fight with Brother Ning. I think that Brother Ning would not dare to fight, right? Gue Yutang saw that Ning Cheng wanted to leave, and quickly spoke up. Ning Cheng frowned, and only spoke after a long while. "When I fought with Brother Cui a moment ago, I had already experienced the fierceness of geniuses. If not for Brother Cui's amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence, I would absolutely not have fought with you. You must know that my ring is an inheritance from the ancient cultivators." Gue Yutang laughed, as he raised his hand and threw a black thing onto the stone and said, This is the I Ching mainland's top-grade artifact crafting. Material, the true burning star sand. Ning Cheng in his heart was incomparably depressed. These people really had obtained good things. The true burning star sand was a rank 9 artifact crafting material. Even if Ning Cheng had not come into contact with those powerhouses with profound cultivation, he knew that once this kind of thing came out, it would immediately cause a riot. The true burning star sand is something that I found in the Angry Axe Valley. You must know that once my academy comes to know that I took out the true burning star sand as a gambling stake, even if I am a core disciple, I would still inevitably be punished by the academy. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile and said, the true burning star sand is indeed very precious, but I am just an essence building cultivator. Why would I want this thing? Or rather, although your thing is precious, but the price tag is still not enough. Perhaps there are more than 10 pieces of the true burning star sand inside my ring. Do you think that I am a fool to use this as a gambling stake with you? Guo Yutang sneered and said, inside your ring, there might indeed be more than 10 pieces of the true burning star sand, but there is also a possibility that there is nothing inside, and it is completely empty inside. Ning Cheng acted as if he did not hear Guo Yutang's words, and did not answer. Guo Yutang, on seeing Ning Cheng's appearance, knew that the chips in his hands were too little. He thought for a moment, and then clenched his teeth and took out a rusty stove and said, this is something that I obtained in the Angry Axe Valley, even I am not able to see the grade of it, this should be enough, right? Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell on the stove. As his eyes flashed with a light, he immediately laughed and said, since Brother Guo has said that it is enough, then I certainly do not have any opinion. Brother Guo, please start first. Guo Yutang had been waiting for Ning Cheng to speak these words. Ning Cheng's voice had just fallen, when a blue spear fell into his hands. Hey, Brother Guo also uses a spear. I also use a spear. Ning Cheng said as he raised his hand, and the broken spear also appeared in Ning Cheng's hands. When Cui Nieping heard Ning Cheng's words, he felt that his previous judgment was not wrong. Ning Cheng was definitely not like him who used his fists, and was also not like Guo Yutang who used a spear. Only this kind of person was the most terrifying. But what made him even more afraid, was that Ning Cheng did not use a complete spear, but rather the spear head and the spear tail were somewhat broken. When Meng Jingxiu heard Ning Cheng's words, she almost laughed out loud. Fortunately, there was no one here who used an axe. If there was someone who used an axe, then she was sure that Ning Cheng would say, hey, you also use an axe? I also use an axe. Guo Yutang seemed to feel that something was not right, but he had already challenged Ning Cheng, as such he would absolutely not shrink back. The blue spear in his hands trembled, and immediately transformed into a more than 10 feet long spear. Eat my spear first. Guo Yutang was incomparably decisive. At the same time that Ning Cheng brought out his spear, the blue spear in his hands had already stabbed out. A blue ripple that was visible to the naked eye appeared in the air. This ripple was like a ripple that fell into a lake and spread out. Even Cui Nieping, who was standing on one side, was speechless. He had never thought that Guo Yutang's spear skills had already reached this level. This blue ripple condensed out of thin air. It was a sign that the spear intent had reached the large accomplishment stage. Once this spear intent ripple wrapped around the opponent, then the scene would be completely under Guo Yutang's control. But Ning Cheng did not care about it. The spear in his hands continuously transformed into 30 ice-cold spear shadows. These spear shadows in just a twinkling of an eye formed a spear net. Guo Yutang's spear intent rippled out in all directions from a single center, while Ning Cheng's spear net had already brought out the spear shadows and gathered them together. In just a short period of time, the two people's spear intents completely collided with each other. After the blue ripple spear intent and Ning Cheng's 36 profound ice spear shadows collided with each other, it immediately gave out bursts of spear shadows exploding. The blue ripple spear intent immediately collided with Ning Cheng's spear net, and instantly broke apart, but after the blue ripple was broken, it did not dissipate. Instead it transformed into innumerable blue flashes of light that exploded towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was not the slightest bit afraid. after his spear net collided with Gue Yutang's blue ripple spear intent, it did not dissipate, rather it started to rotate, and blew away the innumerable blue flashes of light. But Gue Yutang actually couldn't help but shiver, as a terrifying bone-chilling cold filled his entire body. Not waiting for him to completely block out this cold chi, Ning Cheng's spear net had already abruptly shrunk, forming a thick profound ice spear shadow as it rumbled towards him. At this point of time Ning Cheng did not even have half a shred of true essence in him that he was gasping for breath. Gue Yutang completely understood why after Ning Cheng and Cui Nieping fought, Cui Nieping obviously did not suffer much, but instead admitted defeat. He was sure that the spear was still not the main weapon of the opposite party. Chapter 156. Boom! Ning Cheng's condensed spear shadow and Gue Yutang's blue spear shadow collided together. Gue Yutang's formidable true essence and spiritual consciousness at this time revealed itself without a doubt. His spear intent was not as good as Ning Cheng's spear intent, as such the blue ripples were broken by Ning Cheng's spear intent. But he abruptly pulled back his spear and brought out a blue spear shadow, blocking Ning Cheng's condensed killing move. This was the final barrier that Gue Yutang's true essence had condensed. As long as Ning Cheng's spear broke through his barrier, even if Gue Yutang did not die, he would still be seriously injured. After the two spear shadows collided, Gue Yutang was directly sent flying for several tens of feet before he fell to the ground. Ning Cheng was also sent rebounding several feet. The confrontation between the two people was even faster than the one between Ning Cheng and Cui Nieping, and had already separated. Gue Yutang was not injured, he had just lost to Ning Cheng in terms of spear intent, as such he fell into a disadvantageous position. But he knew that he had already lost. Ning Cheng was certainly not using a magical weapon. Even if that was the case, he was not Ning Cheng's opponent. Once Ning Cheng used a magical weapon, he would be even worse off. Unless he and Cui Nieping joined hands to deal with Ning Cheng, as a genius, he disdained to join hands with others to deal with a cultivator whose cultivation was not as good as his. I lost. Gue Yutang calmly said as he put away the spear in his hands. At this time how could he not understand? When Ning Cheng and Cui Nieping had fought, he was not injured at all. He was afraid that his performance would be too terrible, and he would not go up to challenge him. Luck, luck. Ning Cheng immediately rushed to the stone, and swept away the things on the stone. He had let Gue Yutang go. If he really wanted to kill Gue Yutang, even if Gue Yutang blocked his spear, he would not be able to get away with it. Elder Brother Ning is the most powerful essence-building realm cultivator that I, Gue Yutang, have ever seen. To be able to fight with Elder Brother Ning today, I have benefited a lot. Gue Yutang waited for Ning Cheng to put away his things, and then cupped his fists and spoke to Ning Cheng in a generous manner. Ning Cheng secretly praised in his heart, although this disciple of a large academy did not hesitate to kill him, but he could still afford to lose. Although he had brought so many good things with him, but he could not help but feel. Today's victory was a fluke. If we were to really fight, then I would not necessarily be able to win. Ning Cheng spoke out in a polite manner. These genius disciples of the major academies were the most concerned about their face. Since he had won someone else's item, it didn't matter if he gave them some face. Besides, Ning Cheng knew in his heart that these two guys really had some skills, and were far from being comparable to the two essence-building cultivators from the Red Heaven Academy. If the two of them were to join forces, he might not be able to handle them with his current cultivation. Cui Nieping also came over and said, "The Angry Axe Lotus Flower Pond is the best place in the Angry Axe Valley to cultivate one's killing intent and spiritual consciousness. It is very difficult for ordinary cultivators to come here. For Brother Ning to be able to come here, it shows just how brilliant you are." In fact, Brother Ning did not disappoint us. Ning Cheng had cultivated in this place before. Of course he knew that Cui Nieping was right. He knew far less about the Angry Axe Valley than the disciples of these large academies, so he immediately cupped his fists and politely asked, "Me and my junior apprentice sister want to get out of this place. Do the two of you have any good ideas?" Guo Yutang laughed and said, "This ancient immortal mansion is..." Guo Yutang's words had not yet come out, when suddenly a spatial fluctuation appeared around him, and he was immediately teleported away. The Angry Axe Valley suddenly closed. Why was only Guo Yutang transferred away? Cui Nieping had just finished speaking this sentence, when the space around him immediately began to fluctuate, and then he disappeared. "It looks like the two of us will soon be transferred out. Unfortunately we have not been to your..." Not waiting for Ning Cheng to finish, Meng Jingxiu had already hugged him. Ning Cheng was surprised for a moment, but soon he understood Meng Jingxiu's meaning. She was afraid that they would be transferred to a different place. Ning Cheng patted Meng Jingxiu's shoulder and said, "Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, when we are transferred out, we will definitely be outside the Angry Axe Valley. We should be together, but we cannot go together. Because I and that cultivator surnamed Kong who presided over the first and second round of the exam are not on good terms, as such I cannot meet with him." "I know, I'm sorry, senior apprentice brother Ning, I did not have the time to take you to that place," Meng Jingxiu said in a regretful voice. "What is that place?" Ning Cheng immediately asked. "That is an immortal mansion." Meng Jingxiu's words made Ning Cheng surprised. He immediately thought of the Scorching He Immortal Mansion. The immortal mansion that the white-haired old woman had brought him to the bottom of the cold river was the Scorching He Immortal Mansion, but then the Scorching He Immortal Mansion flew away. Did Meng Jingxiu mean that the Scorching He Immortal Mansion had flown to the Angry Axe Valley? But that was not right. That immortal mansion had flown away. Meng Jingxiu did not even know about it. Meng Jingxiu spoke with certainty. "It is an immortal mansion, called Lan Wei." Meng Jingxiu had only spoken half of her words, when a strong spatial fluctuation came from the surroundings. Ning Cheng immediately knew that it should be his turn to be transferred out. He grabbed Meng Jingxiu even tighter, and sure enough, an invisible force directly swept him and Meng Jingxiu away. When he and Meng Jingxiu landed on the ground, they had already landed on the banks of a surging river. "Hey, our luck is quite good. This should not be the outside of the Angry Axe Valley. We should have been transferred to a new place." Ning Cheng could feel the surrounding aura and the spiritual qi, and immediately spoke with certainty. Ning Cheng was the first to feel glad, that when he and Meng Jingxiu were transferred out, they were not outside of the Angry Axe Valley. If he and Meng Jingxiu were transferred out of the Angry Axe Valley, then they would have definitely been caught by that cultivator surnamed Kong. "Alas, I went through a lot of hardships, and wanted to go to the Angry Axe Valley to find the immortal mansion, just to cultivate faster, and then to find my parents, but I did not expect that in the end I would fall short of success. I had not even found the place, before I was transferred out." Meng Jingxiu sighed. Ning Cheng spoke with some embarrassment. "I'm sorry, I should have delayed the time." Meng Jingxiu shook her head and spoke, "No, from where we are still more than 10 days away from the place where the immortal mansion is located. Coupled with the time needed to find the immortal mansion, even if we did not delay the time, we would not have been able to reach it in time." Ning Cheng comforted her and said, "Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, in fact, I think that since we have not found the immortal mansion, it should be a good thing. Once the immortal mansion is opened, with our cultivation, I'm afraid that we would not be able to bind it. With that kind of immortal spiritual aura, it would immediately attract the attention of others. At that time we would only be cannon fodder." Ning Cheng's words were not without reason. Initially that white-haired old woman's cultivation was very powerful, but she was still unable to subdue the immortal mansion. What kind of cultivation did he and Meng Jingxiu have? How could they subdue an immortal mansion? In the end, perhaps they would really be making wedding clothes for others. Meng Jingxiu believed in Ning Cheng's words. As she listened to Ning Cheng's words, she nodded and said, "What big brother Ning said is very true. Later on when our cultivation is high enough, then we can come back to the Angry Axe Valley. But the time that the Angry Axe Valley opens is too long. I heard that it only opens once in 1,000 years. Not necessarily. This time there was an accident in the Angry Axe Valley, so the time that we stayed inside was extended by a lot." I suspect that this accident is because of a problem with the array formation that sealed the Angry Axe Valley. Once this array formation is destroyed, then perhaps we can enter the Angry Axe Valley at any time. Ning Qing said. Seeing that Meng Jingxiu was puzzled, Ning Qing explained, a long time ago, people could enter the Angry Axe Valley at any time, but later because there were many powerhouses that jointly laid out a mystic realm array formation, only cultivators below the essence building realm can enter. I have also heard about it from others. So that's how it is, the array formation of the Angry Axe Valley was destroyed. At that time no one would know about the location of the Immortal Mansion. Meng Jingxiu said, as she took out an old map and handed it to Ning Cheng and said, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, your cultivation is higher than mine, this map of the Immortal Mansion is on you. This map was drawn by my Meng clan's ancestor after he entered the Angry Axe Valley, using his memory to draw it. My ancestor had just found this Immortal Mansion. When the time came, he was transferred out. Ning Qing knew that Meng Jingxiu had already memorized the contents of this map, so he did not refuse, and directly put away the map and said, now where do you want to go? I want to go back to the Hua continent to take away Luofei. Do you want to go back to the Hua continent with me, or do you want to stay in the Jia continent? Meng Jingxiu took out a jade strip and handed it to Ning Cheng and said, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, this is the map from the Jia continent to the Yixing Ocean. If I have not guessed wrong, then we should be at the Mo La River at this time. The Mo La River is close to the Lost Mountain Range. If Senior Apprentice Brother wants to go back to the Hua continent, then we must cross the Lost Mountain Range, so. Meng Jingxiu did not say it out loud, but her words were very clear, that is, with Ning Cheng's cultivation, he would definitely not be able to cross the Lost Mountain Range. Ning Cheng was silent for a moment before he spoke, Junior Apprentice Sister Jingxiu, although I have entrusted you Ying with this matter, but in my heart I am still somewhat worried about Luofei. Even if the Lost Mountain Range is a land of death, I still want to try and see if I can cross it. Saying that, Ning Cheng also took out a storage bag and handed it to Meng Jingxiu before speaking, Junior Apprentice Sister Jingxiu, this storage bag contains 100,000 high-grade spirit stones, you can take it for your cultivation, there is also a best quality spirit stone inside. If when you enter the essence building realm, you are not able to obtain the essence building pill, then use the best quality spirit stones to enter the essence building realm. Meng Jingxiu on hearing this quickly shook her head and pushed the things towards Ning Cheng, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, you have always helped me, how can I take so many spirit stones from you, no. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile, you want to find an immortal mansion, presumably it is to speed up your cultivation. If a rogue cultivator didn't have good resources, it was impossible for him to increase his cultivation speed. I've made some money lately, as you know. My high-grade spirit stones add up to about 500 to 600,000. Although Ning Cheng had 500 to 600,000 high-grade spirit stones, but he knew that his cultivation consumption was much higher than Meng Jingxiu's. Meng Jingxiu only had the cultivation of true condensation realm, so 100,000 high-grade spirit stones should be more than enough. Meng Jingxiu hesitated for a moment, before putting away the storage bag and said, many thanks Senior Apprentice Brother Xiaocheng. She also imitated Ruemu Danqin and called Ning Cheng as Senior Apprentice Brother Xiaocheng. She felt that this form of address was a bit smoother, moreover it also made the relationship between her and Ning Cheng not seem so strange. Ning Cheng also did not care about it, as he once again carved down the concealment cultivation method that he had comprehended and handed it to Meng Jingxiu, this concealment cultivation method, maybe you can use it in the future. I'm ready to go, we will meet again someday. Wait. Seeing that Ning Cheng still wanted to go to the Lost Mountain Range, Meng Jingxiu once again called out to Ning Cheng. Chapter 157. Senior Apprentice Brother Xiaocheng, I actually have a way to get you back to the Hua continent earlier. Seeing Ning Cheng wake up, and somewhat at a loss, Meng Jingxiu suddenly felt very uncomfortable in her heart. She could not wait to help Ning Cheng fly over the Lost Mountain Range, and see Ji Luofei. She and Ning Cheng had been together for a long time, and she thought that she had a certain understanding of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had a firm character, and was also a very opinionated person. Not only that, he always did things in an orderly manner, and was extremely rational, giving people a feeling that he could be relied on. Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, can you step on your sword and fly over now? I don't really like this place. Meng Jingxiu asked in a low voice. Are you from the Jia continent? Ning Cheng guessed that Meng Jingxiu might be from the Jia continent, otherwise it would be impossible for her father to participate in the Yixing Ocean's war in the Jia continent. Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, in fact the Yixing Ocean's war is not just a war between the three continents. The war between the three continents is just a saying from the Hua continent, the Yixing Ocean's war in the Hua continent, is just some small fish and shrimp. My father is fighting in the intermediate class continent's Yixing Ocean's battlefield, and is also dealing with some of the real experts. Meng Jingxiu corrected Ning Cheng's view. Meng Jingxiu's method sounded very good, and could even work, but Ning Cheng knew that this method had a lot of loopholes. These two people were Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu, the two of them had disguised themselves as an adventurer couple. This kind of adventurer couple, no matter which continent, was extremely common, and would not attract much attention. Meng Jingxiu gave an "n" sound and said, with senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng's strength, the chances of him passing through the Lost Mountain Range is less than 20%, and this is just a big estimate. Even if senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng could pass through the Lost Mountain Range, I estimate that it would take at least 2 years. In fact, Meng Jingxiu had guessed correctly, Ning Cheng was indeed too worried about Ji Luofei. In his heart, Ji Luofei and Ning Ruolin were not much different, they were both his family. Him coming to the Yixing mainland was tantamount to losing Ning Ruolin, he absolutely could not lose Ji Luofei. Good, junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, we will do this. First he would go to the edge of the Yixing Ocean, it would be best if he could join a caravan, but if he could not join a caravan then he would join the cultivator army. From here to the edge of the Yixing Ocean, how long would it take? Ning Cheng quickly made up his mind. Ning Cheng had heard from Zhang Shua that the Hua continent was at the rear of the battlefield, as such the war was generally not as fierce. Zhang Shua's father was plotted against in this kind of auxiliary battle. Meng Jingxiu did not hesitate this time, and directly spoke, Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, I would like to ask you to accompany me on a trip to the Yixing Ocean. Ning Cheng shook his head and spoke, I tried it, there is a huge magnetic field in this place, which is a natural forbidden space restriction. As such, one would not be able to fly high, nor would one be able to fly fast. Moreover, even one's spiritual consciousness is restricted. Once we fly, we'll be completely exposed. Don't worry about anything else. Let's speed up. Ning Cheng spoke in a low voice, there is indeed something wrong with this place, I had already felt it a long time ago. There's not a single sound, not even the sound of birds or beasts. Wait. Ning Cheng caught the key point of Meng Jingxiu's words. Meng Jingxiu and her mother had followed the Yixing Ocean's merchant caravan from the Jia continent to the Hua continent, could he also do the same? No wonder you have prepared so many maps, it seems that you had already planned this long before you came to the Jia continent. Ning Cheng finally understood why Meng Jingxiu was even more clear about the Jia continent than him. More importantly, Ning Cheng did not dare to fly, moreover he also did not have a flight-type magical weapon. At this time, flying on a flying sword was simply too ostentatious. Then after you arrive at the Shihai city, what are you going to do? Ning Cheng knew that Meng Jingxiu wanted to find her father and mother, but how many cultivators were stationed in the Jia continent? It was simply innumerable, where would she go to find them? Besides, who knew that after so many years, would her father still be in the Yixing Ocean's territory in the Jia continent? Meng Jingxiu on seeing Ning Cheng agree to travel together with her, immediately spoke with joy, Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, this is the Mola River. From here to the Jia continent's Chang'emo city, it would take about 5 days. After we arrive at the Chang'emo city, we can enter the transmission array, and directly teleport to the Shihai city near the Yixing Ocean. The Shihai city has a place to recruit cultivator soldiers, and also has caravan activities. We can try our luck in the Shihai city. When I was 9 years old, my mother came to the Jia continent alone to look for my father. I believe that they must have stayed in the Shihai city. I will slowly look for them around the Shihai city. Meng Jingxiu spoke in an extremely firm manner. Meng Jingxiu shook her head and spoke, "No, my father's cultivation level is only at the profound congealing realm. Moreover, the reason why my father was able to reach the profound congealing realm was mainly because of the harvest and rewards from the Yixing Ocean's battlefield. When my father had just joined the Yixing Ocean's war, his cultivation level was only at the late stages of true condensation. The harvest and rewards from the Yixing Ocean's war were simply too rich, not only my father, but all the cultivators who joined. As long as they did not fall, their cultivations would soar rapidly. The Jia continent was vast and sparsely populated. Even if they walked for hundreds of miles, they would not be able to see even a single person's shadow. However, compared to crossing the Lost Mountain Range, this method was obviously a lot better. Ning Qing spoke with some disappointment. We do not know the caravans, and also do not have any relationship with the cultivator army. Wouldn't it be very difficult for us to join the caravans and return to the Hua continent? Not to mention that the patrol squads would not be able to patrol such a long distance. The Yixing Ocean's 9 continents cultivators have already formed an army. As such they would have already formed a certain system and restraint mechanism. Casually leaving the cultivator army's patrol squad, although this matter looked easy, but in fact it was not easy. Seeing Ning Qing remain silent, Meng Jingxiu once again spoke, "Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, if we can really join the cultivator army, and get the opportunity to patrol, then returning to the Hua continent would at most take half a year, or even less. At most it would not take more than a year. It would definitely be more cost-effective than crossing the Lost Mountain Range." At the side of this middle-aged man was a middle-aged woman wearing a blue-colored robe. This woman did not look ugly, but her skin was not delicate, showing that she was not a daughter of a noble family. It was obvious that this was a couple of adventurers. "No, senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, in fact, in addition to joining the caravans, there is another way, and that is to join the cultivator army. Then find a way to join the patrol squad. The patrol squad's airship is of a very high grade, and its speed is very fast. The most important thing is, in addition to the monstrous beasts blocking them, the patrol squad can also fly unimpeded in the Yixing Ocean. As long as senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng can follow the patrol squad to the Hua continent's Yixing Ocean, then you can leave the army, and secretly enter the Hua continent. This is the method that I thought of before. I originally wanted to use this method to enter the Jia continent, but now it is no longer necessary. Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, do you still have something to say?" Ning Qing stopped, as he looked at Meng Jingxiu with a puzzled expression and asked. Meng Jingxiu spoke with a cautious expression, "Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, my father is in the Yixing Ocean's cultivator barracks. My mother went to look for my father, but has not returned, so I also want to go to the Yixing Ocean's cultivator barracks to have a look. The reason why I want you to accompany me to the Yixing Ocean, is not just to prevent you from crossing the Lost Mountain Range." At this time, on the edge of the Jia continent, on a long winding mountain road, there was a middle-aged couple walking quickly. The man's hair was somewhat messy, and there was a faint knife scar on his face, while on his back he was carrying a very heavy-looking broadsword. His rough palms coupled with the knife scar on his face, people could feel the intrepid aura of this middle-aged man from far away. "Then your father's cultivation should be very high, right?" Ning Qing thought that since he could fight in the Yixing Ocean of an intermediate-class continent, then his cultivation would certainly not be too bad. "That's right, when I was 4 years old, a huge war broke out in the Yixing Ocean. According to my mother, countless Yixing Ocean's cultivators and monstrous beasts flocked to the coast of the Yixing mainland. My father was not optimistic about winning the war, so he let my mother take me with her to the Yixing Ocean's caravan to the Hua continent." Meng Jingxiu had just finished speaking this sentence, when Ning Qing immediately grabbed Meng Jingxiu's shoulders with joy. "Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, do you really have a way?" Hurry up and say it. Ning Cheng was stunned. He had been wholeheartedly focused on finding Luofei, and had actually forgotten about his own strength. Even if he crossed the Lost Mountain range, it would still take at least a year or two. Moreover, this was in a situation where there was no danger. If something happened midway, then maybe he would not even be able to cross in 2 years. Meng Jingxiu did not take away Ning Cheng's hand, but slightly sorted out her emotions and spoke, "Do you know about the Yixing Ocean's War? Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, why do I feel that there is something wrong with this place? There is a kind of strange feeling that I can't describe." The one who spoke was the blue-robed woman. "I know about it. It is the Great War of the 3 continents. I did not think that you would know about it." Ning Cheng felt that he was too excited, and immediately put down his hand. Fortunately, he and Meng Jingxiu were already very familiar with each other, as such this kind of action was not considered rude. Ning Cheng had only been in the Chongqing province for a few days, when he came to know about the Great War of the 3 continents. As for the specific situation, he had to listen to Zhang Shua to understand it. Ning Cheng frowned. If he did not have anything else to do, then he would have definitely agreed to Meng Jingxiu's request. Sending Meng Jingxiu to the Yixing Ocean side was not a big deal. But now he was burning with anxiety, and could not wait to immediately fly back to the Hua Continent's God Wind Academy. But now he had a blank expression. In addition to the fact that he was not familiar with the unknown Lost Mountain Range and the Jia continent, the main reason was that he was too worried about Ji Luofei. After listening to Meng Jingxiu, Ning Cheng did not immediately answer. He knew that although Meng Jingxiu was very intelligent, but her life experience was very poor. If he gave the mysterious yellow bead to that cultivator surnamed Kong, then the other party would let him and Ji Luofei go. Then he really did not care about the mysterious yellow bead. The mysterious yellow bead might be very precious, but for Ning Cheng who came from Earth, it was something even more precious. But he was very clear, that as long as that cultivator surnamed Kong knew about this, then he and Ji Luofei would definitely die. The other party would absolutely not allow a cultivator who knew about the mysterious yellow bead, to live peacefully in this world. Seeing that Meng Jingxiu had already made up her mind, Ning Cheng also did not speak anymore, and just reminded her, "Going to the Shihai city is fine, but we must disguise ourselves. In case we were discovered by that cultivator surnamed Kong, then it would only be a dead end for us." Meng Jingxiu looked at Ning Cheng and spoke with certainty, "Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, you should have understood what I meant. From the Jia continent to the Hua continent, in addition to passing through the Lost Mountain Range, there is another way, and that is through the Yixing Ocean. But from the Yixing Ocean, we must go together with the Yixing Ocean's caravan. These caravans and the cultivator armies of the 9 continents are inextricably linked. As such it is very difficult for an average person to mix into the caravan. Originally my mother was able to take me to the Hua continent through the caravan. It was because my father already had a lot of power, moreover he also knew the people in the caravan, as such he was able to do so." Chapter 158. Meng Jingxiu closely followed Ning Cheng, as the two of them sped up. But this long mountain road seemed to be endless. The two of them walked for almost half a day. Seeing the sky gradually turning dark, the two of them still had not come out of the mountain road. "Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng." Meng Jingxiu felt that something was wrong, as she subconsciously called out in a trembling voice. In the face of death, she was not afraid, but this kind of strange situation made her feel very uncomfortable. Ning Cheng stopped. He looked around, and suddenly said, "Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, I think we do not have to continue. If this mountain road is not extremely long, then the two of us must have entered into an illusion array." Illusion array? Meng Jingxiu unconsciously repeated those words. She did not understand array formations, but she knew that array formations were very powerful. Once a person who did not understand array formations entered an illusion array, wanting to come out again, it would be extremely difficult. Even if there was no one controlling it, the people in the illusion array would be able to wander around until they died. Ning Cheng motioned Meng Jingxiu not to be nervous. "Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, we may not necessarily have entered into an illusion array, or perhaps this road is really extremely long. I also know a thing or two about array formations. If it really was an illusion array, then I should have already perceived it. But I did not perceive it, which means that it is not necessarily an illusion array. Then what should we do? It was not until this time that Meng Jingxiu realized how difficult it was to go to the Yixing Ocean alone in the Jia continent. If she was alone, then she simply would not know what to do. Do not worry, the sky is already dark, we will spend the night here tonight, and then leave tomorrow. The spiritual qi in this place is very thin. According to reason, there would not be any powerful cultivators coming here. As for ordinary cultivators, as long as they have not reached the profound congealing realm, I would not put them in my eyes. Ning Qing spoke in an extremely stable manner. Meng Jingxiu did not have her own opinion at this time. Of course she would do whatever Ning Qing said. After half an hour, the two of them left the winding mountain road, and instead entered into the depths of the mountain range. Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, this place is so strange, why would we want to dig an immortal cave in the depths of the mountain range? Meng Jingxiu knew that Ning Qing wanted to dig an immortal cave in the depths of the mountain range, and asked in a puzzled manner. Ning Qing gave a smile and spoke, there is a saying in my hometown, that the more dangerous the place, the safer it is. It should also be applicable here. On the contrary, I feel that spending the night on the side of the road is not appropriate. At this time, a burst of footsteps could be heard. Meng Jingxiu's heart tightened. This was the first sound that she had heard after entering the barren hills. She subconsciously moved closer to Ning Qing. How could there be footsteps in this place? If he was a cultivator, he wouldn't be walking in the middle of the night. Ning Qing patted Meng Jingxiu's shoulder and spoke with a sound transmission. Use the concealment method I taught you to conceal your entire body's aura. The two footsteps that came over just now were footsteps that did not have any signs of life. If it's not a zombie, then it's a puppet. I've never seen a zombie before, so it's probably a puppet created by a heretic cultivator. We don't have to worry about it. Let's just wait for the puppet to pass. Meng Jingxiu gave an "n" sound, as she converged her aura. After the two of them withdrew their auras, it didn't take long for two figures to appear under the pale moonlight. One in front of the other, the two of them were carrying a wooden chest. The faces of the two people were just as pale as the pale moonlight. They were also incomparably pale. They are dead people. Meng Jingxiu's voice trembled. These dead people were still carrying something. It was obvious that they were zombies. Ning Qing did not use a sound transmission this time, but spoke in a low voice. They should not be normal dead people, but rather ordinary people who were refined into a corpse puppet by a cultivator. This cultivator is really vicious, to actually refine a living person into a walking corpse. He had studied array formations, and had also studied some simple puppet techniques. As such he knew that there was a magical technique that could refine a living person into a corpse puppet. This kind of magical technique was extremely cruel, as such Ning Qing did not have any interest in it. At this time, Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness had already fallen into the wooden chest that the two people were carrying. When he saw the person inside the chest, he was immediately surprised. What's wrong? Senior apprentice brother Xiao Qing. Meng Jingxiu quickly asked. I know the person inside the chest, how could she come here? Since this woman came here, then what about Yu Ying and the others? Ning Qing answered Meng Jingxiu's words, and then spoke a few words to himself. Who is it? Meng Jingxiu quickly asked. It is that woman from the Wu Nian Academy who wears a veil over her face. Yu Ying, junior apprentice sister Dan Qin and Sang Shua were the ones who made the decision to join the Wu Nian Academy. She herself has the cultivation of true condensation 9th level. Moreover, that late-stage essence-building cultivator beside her is even more powerful. How could she be captured in this kind of small place? Moreover, even her cultivation was sealed. Ning Qing replied in a puzzled manner. Meng Jingxiu also gawked for a moment, and then said, Isn't the Wu Nian Academy from the Lu continent? It is reasonable to say that if she was sent out, then she should have been sent to the Lu continent. how could she be in the Hua continent? After saying that, Meng Jingxiu realized that these were not the main point. The main point was that even the Wu Nian Academy's core disciple was here. Then how could junior apprentice sister Dan Qin and the others be any better off? Then what should we do? Meng Jingxiu had just asked this question, when Ning Qing suddenly covered her mouth, while at the same time completely converged his aura. Meng Jingxiu was an extremely intelligent person, moreover her comprehension ability was also extremely amazing. Ning Qing simply did not need to speak again, she already knew what to do, moreover converged the aura of her entire body, and gradually merged with Ning Qing, completely blending into the surrounding underbrush. The two people had just completely converged their auras, when a tyrannical spiritual consciousness swept past them. This spiritual consciousness did not stop, but just quickly swept past them, and then disappeared. Meng Jingxiu's forehead was filled with cold sweat. She knew that once they were caught by this spiritual consciousness, then she and Ning Qing would definitely be finished. Ning Qing let go of Meng Jingxiu, as he spoke in a low voice, "This is a guy with the cultivation of profound congealing realm, I am still unable to beat him, at least his spiritual consciousness is much stronger than mine." After being silent for a moment, Ning Qing once again spoke, "The difference between profound congealing realm and essence building realm is only that the true essence is a bit more powerful, and is able to form an embryonic form of the core lake. If one is unprepared, then it is not as if there is no chance of winning." "Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, do you want to save her?" Meng Jingxiu asked in a trembling voice. It was not that she did not want to save that woman wearing a veil, but Ning Qing wanted to save a person from the hands of a profound congealing cultivator. It was simply like using an egg to smash a stone. Ning Qing spoke in a sinking voice, "I have to save her. Yu Ying, Dan Qin and Sang Shua are all together with this person. Now that she is like this, then what would happen to Yu Ying and the others? I am counting on the God Wind Academy to protect Luofei, but now that the disciples of the God Wind Academy are in danger, how can I just stay out of it? Besides, if I saw it, then it would be considered as an acquaintance of mine. If I did not save her, then it would not be appropriate. Then let's go together." Meng Jingxiu, seeing Ning Qing had already made up his mind, spoke up from the side. Ning Qing nodded, "You be careful and follow behind me. Remember, no matter where we go, we must always conceal our auras. This guy is at most a cultivator who has just advanced to the profound congealing realm, moreover his cultivation is still not stable, as such his core lake certainly has not yet fully formed. As long as we are not discovered by him before we start, then it is not that we do not have any chance of winning." Leaving Meng Jingxiu alone in this place, Ning Qing did not feel at ease. He was sure that this purple-robed woman was sent to this mountain range, and was then carried by the corpse puppets. It was absolutely not the corpse puppets that carried her in from outside the mountain. Good. Meng Jingxiu did not have any objection. No matter what Ning Qing decided, she would not oppose it. The two corpse puppets carried the wooden box, and entered a more secluded canyon. Ning Qing and Meng Jingxiu carefully followed the two corpse puppets, but did not dare to make a move. Ning Qing was very clear that although his spiritual consciousness was not present, but it was already paying attention to the wooden box. Although it was very simple for him to kill these two corpse puppets, but after killing these corpse puppets, wanting to escape from this place, it would be very difficult. In order to rescue this woman with a veil over her face, he would have to secretly kill that profound congealing cultivator. He was just an early-stage essence-building cultivator. If he wanted to kill a profound congealing cultivator, then other than sneak attacks, there was really no better way. The two corpse puppets in front of them turned a corner. Ning Qing picked up Meng Jingxiu and sped up. As they approached the two corpse puppets, he suddenly took out the 7 Pleiades ice needle. The 7 Pleiades ice needle flashed in the night sky, and then disappeared. Even Meng Jingxiu was not able to see Ning Qing's actions. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the two corpse puppets stopped in front of an overgrown grave. The two corpse puppets put down the wooden box and opened it, and poured the purple-robed woman inside the wooden box onto the ground in front of the grave. After doing this, the two corpse puppets once again lifted the empty wooden box, turned around and once again walked back along the road, as if they did not know what exhaustion was. Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu converged their auras, as they hid in the grass on the periphery of the grave, and did not move at all. At this time in the silent valley, there was finally some sound. This was the sound of the wind blowing through the shrubs, and under the pale moonlight, it looked even more strange. After the mountain wind blew past, the tombstone in front of the grave suddenly split open, and a gloomy aura began to permeate out from inside. A woman wearing a green robe suddenly came out of the cracked grave. She directly picked up the purple-robed woman who was wearing a veil over her face, and then turned around and walked back into the grave. The cracked grave once again slowly closed up. Ning Cheng, just before the grave was about to close up, picked up Meng Jingxiu and instantly rushed inside. Then he hid in a corner, and did not move. He was very glad that the profound congealing cultivator did not sweep out with his spiritual consciousness. If he had swept out at this time, then he would have definitely been discovered. Meng Jingxiu, who was being held by Ning Cheng, spoke with a trembling voice. Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, was that green-robed woman also a corpse puppet? Ning Cheng quickly sent a sound transmission to Meng Jingxiu. No, it was a living person. But the yin qi around her body was extremely heavy, presumably she cultivated some kind of strange cultivation method. Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, from now on, if it is not a particularly urgent matter, do not send a sound transmission to me. Meng Jingxiu quickly nodded. Ning Cheng once again took her to hide in another more secluded corner. At this time, Ning Cheng carefully began to use his spiritual consciousness to observe the situation inside. Chapter 159. Sikong Kai, you son of a bitch, this old mother helped you with untold hardships, but you even went behind this old mother's back to take care of a maidservant. The voice of the woman in the aqua-colored robe was incomparably angry, and even raised her hand to slap him twice. Sikong Kai, you shameless thing, this old mother killed you today, and then tomorrow you will find a few more. This old mother has already killed a few of these bitches. The woman was still incomparably angry. Ning Cheng secretly despised her in his heart. With the appearance of this purple-robed woman, his first feeling was that he did not have the heart to hurt her. This Sikong Kai completely disregarded the fact that the woman he had just made love to was killed, and still had the mood to do such a thing. This really was a scum to the extreme. The woman from the Wu Nian Academy with a veil covering her face was thrown to the foot of the wall. It seems that the man did not have the time to care about her. Ning Cheng, on seeing the woman in the aqua-colored robe, his heart sank. He did not dare to use his spiritual consciousness to sweep out this woman. But he was sure that this woman's cultivation was at least at the profound congealing realm. If it was a profound congealing cultivator, he would still dare to plot against them, but with two profound congealing cultivators, he should now be thinking about how to escape. Ning Cheng secretly felt relieved. He knew that this woman had already left the tomb. He only hoped that while he and Sikong Kai were in the process, this woman would never come back. When this woman left, Sikong Kai simply did not care about it. His gaze once again fell on the body of the purple-robed woman. His eyes flashed with joy and a fiery light. At this moment, his eyes only had eyes for the purple-robed woman. Ning Cheng patted Meng Jingxiu with his hand, motioning her not to move for the time being, while he himself carefully moved to the entrance of the opposite stone chamber. Fortunately, Meng Jingxiu was aware of the seriousness of the matter, and forcibly stabilized herself. With Ning Cheng's help, her restlessness also calmed down, and finally once again completely concealed herself with the surrounding environment. The two people walked very slowly. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu finally stepped onto a flat ground. This was not a big stone house, and in each of the four corners of the stone house, there was a burning stove. The man called Sikong Kai awkwardly spoke. Jiao Jiao, I have been waiting for you for a long time, but you did not come back, so I missed you a little. So first, it can be said that Ning Cheng's plan was already half completed. If at this time Meng Jingxiu's blood flow accelerated, or even her heartbeat was discovered by this person, then it would truly be over for her. But as Ning Cheng went down, he slowly understood why the other party wanted to cultivate in this place. In the depths of this damp grave, there was actually an extremely dense spiritual energy. This kind of spiritual qi had a very evil aura to it, causing Ning Cheng to feel a kind of indescribable awkwardness. Her face was so perfect that it was even more beautiful than a fairy that had walked out of a landscape painting. Her incomparably beautiful face coupled with her tightly shut eyes made it hard for people to look away. Once this woman woke up and opened her eyes, how beautiful would she be? Sikong Kai gave a snort, but in the end did not refute. He casually picked up the purple-robed woman from the ground, and threw her on the wooden couch and said, I heard that this is a woman with an extremely high-quality spiritual root. Wait a minute. In the opposite stone house, a man in disheveled robes was pressing the green-robed woman that Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu had seen a moment ago onto a wooden couch, while desperately shaking her up and down. The green-robed woman's robes had long since been torn to shreds. As she lay on the wooden couch moaning weakly, it was unknown whether it was pain or pleasure. Jiao Jiao raised her eyebrows, as she reached out to grab the purple-robed woman, and said, Since you said that you would give it to me first. Ning Cheng quickly grabbed Meng Jingxiu's hand, as he carefully circulated some of his true essence to help her calm down the blood flowing through her body. At this time, he did not even dare to use the clear mind tactic. Not to mention Sikong Kai, even the woman called Jiao Jiao was staring at the purple-robed woman on the wooden couch. This woman was simply too beautiful. They were sure that they had never seen such a beauty before. Meng Jingxiu could also feel it, but her cultivation was too low, and could only carefully follow behind Ning Cheng. Sikong Kai stared at the purple-robed woman for a long time, as the lust in his eyes finally could not be extinguished, as he raised his hand and tore off his robes. Previously when he was doing things with the green-robed woman, he had not completely torn off his robes, but at this time he could not bear it any longer. The stone stairs were very long, and the further down they went the more damp and gloomier it became. Ning Cheng really could not figure out why a profound congealing cultivator would choose this kind of place to cultivate. What was so good about cultivating in this kind of place? But Meng Jingxiu was different. She had never seen such a thing before, and just looking at it for a while made her feel weak all over. In the beginning, Ning Cheng did not care about Meng Jingxiu's movements. Meng Jingxiu could be considered to be a lone wanderer outside. Even if she saw this kind of thing, she would not make a fuss about it. But now Meng Jingxiu's blood flow was actually accelerating. How could this be? The stone house did not have a door, moreover the restrictions were also not activated. Ning Cheng used his spiritual consciousness to carefully examine the stone stairs several times, and found that these stone stairs were extremely old. He estimated that they were not built by that profound congealing cultivator. It was very likely that this profound congealing cultivator had found this place, and then found that this place was not bad. As such he decided to stay here. This stone house obviously had 4 furnaces burning with flames, but Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu could feel a chill coming from it. Even the flames were incomparably cold. Ning Cheng gave a sigh. Fortunately that profound congealing cultivator was in high spirits at this time, otherwise it would have been a big problem. Ning Cheng arranged a trap and kill array formation at the exit of the tombstone, and then carefully and slowly moved down the stairs. He did not dare to activate this trap and kill array formation at this time, but in case he could not beat him and decided to escape, he could then activate the trap and kill array formation to block the opponent for a period of time. There was a corridor on the left and right side of the stone house. Ning Cheng was just thinking about which corridor he should take, when the corridor on the right side started to emit bursts of groaning sounds. Ning Cheng gave a signal to Meng Jingxiu, as the two of them carefully entered the corridor on the right side. At the end of the corridor were 2 stone houses, and the groaning sounds were coming from one of the stone houses. Sikong Kai's complexion turned a bit ugly, but he did not flare up, and just said, Jiao Jiao, you have already killed that person, shouldn't you be able to breathe a sigh of relief now? Meng Jingxiu was thinking about whether or not Ning Cheng would act at this time, because this time should be the best time to act. In fact, Ning Cheng was also considering whether or not to act at this time, as the scene in front of him was not within his calculations. But if he acted at this time, then he would definitely be able to seriously injure this profound congealing cultivator. Good, Sikong Kai, you actually dare to act against this old lady, you. This woman called Jiao Jiao was really angry, as she unexpectedly turned around and rushed out of the stone house, and soon disappeared. Fart. The woman called Jiao Jiao gave an angry shout, as she raised her hand and split the green-robed woman who had already sat up, and was cowering on the side, into two halves. Inside the tomb, there was a stone staircase that led downwards. Ning Cheng did not dare to sweep out with his spiritual consciousness too far, and only checked within a range of 10 meters. This stone staircase was definitely more than 10 meters. Ning Cheng also did not continue to check. In front of a profound congealing cultivator, he had to be careful. Dang! A sound of impact resounded in the underground tomb, and instantly an even louder sound echoed out. Fart. Jiao Jiao angrily scolded Sikong Kai for the second time, while simultaneously raising her hand. A flying sword suddenly appeared in her hands. The next moment the flying sword was already heading towards the neck of the purple-robed woman. Sikong Kai hastily stood in front of her. No, I must obtain this woman, just this one. I promise that in the future to you. Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu were hiding behind a pillar on the left edge of the door, from which they could clearly see the scene inside the stone house on the right. Ning Cheng, who was watching from afar, was also almost startled, but fortunately he was aware that he was in a dangerous situation, and quickly recovered. Ning Cheng was still hesitating, when an angry cold snort arrived from the outside. Ning Cheng, on hearing this cold snort, immediately suppressed his desire to start. Meng Jingxiu, on seeing the scene, her face suddenly turned red. Fortunately, she was aware of where they were, and was able to forcibly conceal her own aura. One had to say that Ning Cheng's modified concealment cultivation method was incomparably heaven-defying. Whether or not the other party was careless, at least until now Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu had not been discovered. As Sikong Kai spoke, he pulled off the veil covering the purple-robed woman's face. But when he saw the appearance of the purple-robed woman, he immediately became sluggish, and completely forgot what he was going to say. The other party was a profound congealing cultivator, but had not discovered Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu. It was not because Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu's cultivation was formidable, but rather because the two people's concealment cultivation method was formidable. Coupled with the fact that the two of them were unsuspecting, they had not been discovered until now. The man who was already nearing the end of the cold snort also finished, as he hurriedly came down from the green-robed woman's body. Not waiting for him to speak, a woman wearing a blue robe had already landed in the opposite room. So beautiful. Sikong Kai muttered to himself after a good while. To mount a sneak attack, he had to be a bit closer. This sneak attack must be successful. If he failed, then the three of them would most likely die. No wonder she covered her face with a veil, such a delicate and pretty face. It was simply enough to bring calamity to the country and the people. Ning Cheng came from Earth, as such he had seen a few small movies. Moreover, this man did not have even half a shred of interest. It only made him despise him in his heart. This man's cultivation was very formidable. Ning Cheng guessed that he was the one who had swept out with his spiritual consciousness. He had seen a lot of beautiful women, his former girlfriend Tian Mu Wan, as well as an Yin Yuing, as well as that Meng Yujing. All of them were extremely beautiful girls. But Ning Cheng also believed that these beauties were not as good as the purple-robed woman in front of him. Previously, when he saw this woman's eyes, he felt that she was very beautiful, but now he knew what was called stunning. This was because Sikong Kai had used his own magical weapon to block Jiao Jiao's attack. It could be seen that the purple-robed woman was simply too attractive to him. Chapter 160. After Sikong Kai took off his clothes, he immediately reached out his hand towards the purple-robed woman's lapel. At this time, the purple-robed woman's lapel suddenly shot out a weak light. The speed of the light was very fast, coupled with such a close distance. Before he could even sober up from his desire, the light had already shot into his chest. As soon as the weak light entered his chest, Sikong Kai's true essence immediately stagnated. He immediately knew that someone was plotting against him. His first reaction was to wrap around the thing that had shot into his chest. Although it was in a hurry, and he was a bit flustered, but he was not nervous. As a cultivator with the cultivation of profound congealing realm, when the light shot into his chest, he immediately knew that it was just a needle-shaped artifact. Using a needle-shaped artifact to plot against him, they were simply looking down on him too much. As long as he was given 2 breaths of time, he would be able to force out this needle-shaped artifact. Ning Cheng had already stimulated the 7 Pleiades ice needle. How could he give Sikong Kai 2 breaths of time? Even if it was just half a breath of time, he would not give it to him. Almost at the same time that the 7 Pleiades ice needle sneak attack succeeded, a golden axe light simultaneously swept towards Sikong Kai. Angry axe second form, tornado. This was Ning Cheng's fastest and most powerful axe intent-killing move. Ning Cheng was well aware of the main point of a sneak attack. He had to kill in one strike. Once he was in a stalemate with the other party, then it would not be a sneak attack, but a serious fight to the death. Once the fight was over, Ning Cheng believed that he was not a match for a profound congealing cultivator. The powerful golden axe killing vortex had already formed in just a breath of time, and before the second breath of time had even passed, it had already exploded towards Sikong Kai's dantian. Such a powerful angry axe killing intent, Sikong Kai could feel the extremely powerful axe killing intent, causing him to panic in his heart. He realized that this sneak attack was not as simple as he thought it would be. He no longer cared about the 7 Pleiades ice needle that was already close to his dantian, and brought out a black morning soul puppet. Bang! A loud explosion resounded in the stone room, completely destroying the door to the stone room. They did not know what material this stone room was made of, but it unexpectedly did not collapse. The bottom of the stone room was smashed open, revealing a dark hole. A putrid smell came from the inside of the cave. Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu did not even need to use their spiritual consciousness to observe, they knew that there were corpses below. The golden killing intent vortex that Ning Cheng had stimulated was unexpectedly blocked by Sikong Kai in a hurry, leaving behind only a few bloodstains in front of Sikong Kai's dantian. Meng Jingxiu, who was watching from the side, felt her heart sink. She knew that this axe was probably Ning Cheng's most powerful move, but such a move was unexpectedly not able to wound Sikong Kai. It meant that today they would be in a terrible situation. Understanding the situation, Meng Jingxiu was just about to step forward to help, when she saw Sikong Kai throw out a punch towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng completely ignored Sikong Kai's punch. On the contrary, the true essence around his body unexpectedly started to fluctuate violently. Ning Cheng was burning his essence blood. This was something that Meng Jingxiu could see with a glance. The after effects of burning his essence blood were very big. As such, Meng Jingxiu also knew that Ning Cheng currently had no way out. Bang! Sikong Kai's fist slammed into Ning Cheng's chest, causing Ning Cheng to fly out upside down. At the same time, Sikong Kai's chest suddenly burst open. Meng Jingxiu quickly rushed out, and caught Ning Cheng in her arms. She was shocked to find that half of Sikong Kai's belly had already disappeared. All of his internal organs had been blown up into a complete mess. It was an abnormally horrifying sight. A burst of weakness came over him, causing Sikong Kai's eyes to split open. He did not expect that the opposite party would be so decisive, and would even explode the ice needle-type artifact that had already invaded his body. Sikong Kai, who had originally wanted to take advantage of the situation to kill Ning Cheng, found that his true essence was completely unable to move. Coupled with the appearance of Meng Jingxiu, he immediately lost all his fighting spirit, and turned around to escape. But the dispirited Ning Cheng once again spurted out a mouthful of essence blood, as he brought out the great axe in his hands. Another golden axe trace streaked across. This time the golden axe trace did not bring out any killing force, it just turned into a thin line of axe shadow, as it chopped down diagonally towards Sikong Kai's shoulder. Poof! Sikong Kai's body was directly split apart by this axe's shadow. Even if that was the case, the other half of Sikong Kai's body could still move, and in just a twinkling of an eye, he had already disappeared from the entrance of the stone room where the fight was taking place. Ning Cheng also did not hesitate to throw out several array flags. At this time the trap and kill array that he had arranged at the entrance of the tomb suddenly opened. After just a few breaths, a pitiful scream came from the entrance of the tomb. This sneak attack from the beginning to the end of the fight only lasted for a dozen breaths of time, but in the middle of the fight, it was extremely fast. By the time Meng Jingxiu was ready to help, the fight had already ended. But when a pitiful scream came from outside, Meng Jingxiu could clearly hear it. It was Sikong Kai's voice. Meng Jingxiu knew that Ning Cheng had arranged a trap and kill array outside, but she did not know that this trap and kill array was prepared for Ning Cheng to escape. Now that she saw Ning Cheng's trap and kill array kill Sikong Kai, she couldn't help but admire Ning Cheng's vision in her heart. Ning Cheng's entire body felt weak, as blood flowed out from the corners of his mouth. He was very clear that he had to leave this place as soon as possible. Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, take Sikong Kai's storage ring, let's hurry up and leave. There is an opening stone bead on the side of the tomb. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Meng Jingxiu was suddenly startled. She immediately went over and took Sikong Kai's storage ring, and then carried the unconscious purple-robed woman on her back. She then picked up Ning Cheng and quickly rushed out of the stone room, and soon drilled out of the tomb. Ning Cheng's injuries were too heavy, and he was also unconscious. If not for his sneak attack, and if not for the inner armor that the old woman had given him, Sikong Kai's punch would have already killed him. After coming out of the tomb, Meng Jingxiu simply did not dare to look back, and only knew to run all the way. The night passed by quickly. As the sky began to turn bright, Meng Jingxiu found that she had unexpectedly come out of the mountain range. She was overjoyed and sped up her speed. An hour passed by. As the sky was completely bright, Meng Jingxiu also saw the first village. She quickly arrived outside the village. But when she saw the situation of the village, she felt her scalp tingle. The village was incomparably silent. It was even more gloomy than the tomb. Meng Jingxiu casually swept out with her spiritual consciousness, and was able to see the wreckage of the village. The scattered corpses made Meng Jingxiu feel fear in her heart. She did not dare to stay for even half a moment. Moreover, she did not dare to enter the village. She bypassed the village, and once again sped up her speed. When Ning Cheng woke up, Meng Jingxiu was still running. But at this time her face was flushed, and she was panting. Even her sweat had seeped into Ning Cheng's body. Not only that, even her footsteps were somewhat unsteady. Ning Cheng immediately knew that Meng Jingxiu had consumed too much of her true essence. Junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, senior apprentice brother Shaoqing, are you awake? Meng Jingxiu spoke in a pleasantly surprised voice, as she stopped. I should be fine after resting for a while. How long have I been unconscious? Ning Cheng was aware of his own situation. His meridians had been reshaped, and was also nourished by the mysterious yellow origin. Although that punch was very powerful, as long as he woke up, he would be able to slowly recover. It was only a matter of time. It has already been 14 hours, I was afraid that that woman would chase after me, so I have been running. Meng Jingxiu finished, and looked back at the purple-robed woman on her back. She doesn't seem to have woken up. I don't know if she had used some kind of method. She should be fine. You don't have to run for now. Let's find a place to stay, then I will start healing. Ning Cheng knew that if his injuries were not completely healed, then with Meng Jingxiu's speed, even if she ran for a few days and nights, she would not be able to escape the pursuit of a profound congealing cultivator. Only by waiting for his injuries to completely heal, would he be able to find a way. Unfortunately, his 7 Pleiades ice needle had already exploded, so he would have one less weapon to defend himself with. After another hour, Meng Jingxiu brought Ning Cheng and the purple-robed woman to a small town, and settled down in an inn. The purple-robed woman was still unconscious, while Ning Cheng was seriously injured, so Meng Jingxiu asked for a large room, and the three of them lived together. Inside the large room there were two small rooms. She and the purple-robed woman shared a room. In order to take care of her, Ning Cheng asked for a separate room. Because Ning Cheng was seriously injured, he could only arrange a simple shielding array formation, and began to heal himself. After a day passed, Ning Cheng's injuries had stabilized. His injuries were too heavy. In the absence of advanced-level healing pills, he could only slowly recover. Ning Cheng did not ask Meng Jingxiu to leave immediately, but continued to stay in the inn. He wanted to sort out all the things that he had obtained. The most important things were the 2 rings that he had obtained in the Angry Axe Valley, as well as the mirror. These 3 things, Ning Cheng had long wanted to take them out and observe them, but he did not have the time to do so. Now that he was free, the first thing he did was to take out the ring where his life essence was hiding. Compared to the mirror, Ning Cheng was more interested in knowing what was inside the ring. Ning Cheng was very clear that a ring that could accommodate a life essence, this ring was definitely not simple. Ordinary storage bags and rings were simply not able to accommodate a life essence. Perhaps it was because the life essence often came in and out of the ring. As such the restrictions on the ring were not very complex. In just an hour, Ning Cheng was able to break open the restrictions on the ring. When Ning Cheng saw the things inside the ring, he was immediately shocked. He did not know if this ring was rich, or if it was barren. There were only 3 things inside the ring. The first was a pill furnace, the second was a pill furnace. The third was a pile of high-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng roughly estimated that this pile of high-grade spirit stones was at least in the millions. In addition to this, there were no spiritual grasses, pills, jade strips, or even magical weapons. Ning Cheng frowned. He was sure that there were other things inside the wooden house. Perhaps it was the magical weapon that the life essence had hidden, but unfortunately, he did not have the time to check it out. As such a powerful expert, it was impossible for him to not have any magical weapons. Now that he did not find any of these things in the ring, nor did he find any of the things that cultivators needed, it meant that the life essence that he had destroyed had other rings. For the time being, Ning Cheng did not touch this ring, as he took out another ring. This ring, he guessed that it should belong to Han Xiang. Regarding this Han Xiang whom he had never met before, Ning Cheng had a very good impression of her. If not for Han Xiang's immortal cave, he would not have progressed so quickly. Chapter 161. The restriction on Han Xiang's ring was still intact, moreover there was no trace of it being broken, which made Ning Cheng somewhat puzzled. Ning Cheng tried various methods but was not able to open the ring, and finally used a drop of blood to refine it. Only then was he able to slowly grind away the restriction on Han Xiang's ring. But after Ning Cheng opened the ring, he suddenly became speechless. Inside, in addition to a pile of women's clothes, there were only a variety of strange materials. Ning Cheng picked up these materials, but found that he did not recognize any of them. It should not be a material for crafting artifacts. What was even more distinctive was that the undergarments inside the ring were ingenious. If Ning Cheng did not know that this ring was definitely not of an earthling, he would have even suspected the origin of Han Xiang. The undergarments inside were all made from a variety of materials as thin as cicada wings. Just looking at it would make one feel incomparably sexy, not to mention wearing it on the body. In Ning Cheng's impression, Han Xiang should be a very strict and quiet woman. But this kind of different style of undergarments suddenly made Ning Cheng's impression completely change. In addition to these clothes and a pile of materials, Ning Cheng did not see even a single magical weapon or a single spiritual grass. There was not even a single spirit stone residue. Ning Cheng was extremely disappointed as he put away the ring, and finally took out the mirror. This mirror was what Ning Cheng was looking forward to the most. It was the origin aura of the mirror that attracted him to Han Xiang's immortal cave at the bottom of the river. The mirror was oval in shape, with a light purple frame. Ning Cheng did not know what material was used to refine the mirror, but at least Ning Cheng felt that the mirror was extremely clear. The tray of the mirror was a rectangular piece of wood. Ning Cheng swept it with his spiritual consciousness, but found that his spiritual consciousness could not penetrate it. He knocked on the piece of wood with his hand, and found that it was empty inside. Ning Cheng touched the rectangular piece of wood all around, and found a protruding point on the edge. He subconsciously pressed it with his hand. Click, the rectangular piece of wood unexpectedly fell down, and a thing wrapped in a talisman fell in front of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng picked up the thing that fell down, and directly tore open the talisman wrapped on the outside. A pale freshwater-colored bead appeared in Ning Cheng's hands. A strong water-attributed origin aura spread out, causing Ning Cheng to feel incomparably anxious in his heart. At this moment, he was not in the mood to care about the beauty of the bead. He was anxious about how to put it away. This kind of powerful origin energy could not be blocked by a storage bag. If he had known that a bead with such a strong origin energy would come out after opening it, he would have done nothing. Ning Cheng reacted quickly. In a hurry, he wanted to throw the watercolored origin bead into the mysterious yellow bead. He had previously put things into the mysterious yellow bead, but he had never put them in. At this time, he no longer cared about anything else, and directly sent the origin bead into the mysterious yellow bead through his thoughts. In fact, Ning Cheng did not even have to wait for the water-colored origin to enter the mysterious yellow bead. The mysterious yellow bead had already sensed the aura of the water-colored origin in Ning Cheng's hands, and even started to throb within Ning Cheng's zifu. When Ning Cheng sent out such a thought, the water-colored origin bead in his hand disappeared without any delay. The surrounding origin aura also dissipated instantly. Apparently, Ning Cheng had already placed the origin bead into the mysterious yellow bead. Ning Cheng gave out a long sigh. Once this thing's origin aura leaked out, it would be equivalent to courting death. From the looks of it, the mysterious yellow bead also had its own selection of things. Ordinary things could not be put in, but things of origin energy could be thrown in. Ning Cheng still did not know if he could enter the mysterious yellow bead. He had not tried it, nor did he dare to try it. Once he entered the mysterious yellow bead would be exposed to the outside, and perhaps the mysterious yellow aura would immediately leak out. For him, if it was not an absolutely safe place, he would not try to enter the mysterious yellow bead. What's more, after the mysterious yellow bead recognized him as its master, he could use the mysterious yellow aura to speed up his cultivation without entering the mysterious yellow bead. After the watercolored origin bead disappeared, Ning Cheng immediately felt that the mirror in his hand had turned into a very ordinary mirror, and no longer had any origin aura around it. Ning Cheng's thoughts swept into the mysterious yellow bead, and found that the mysterious yellow bead still looked the same as before, with a yellow haze. However, within this yellow haze, there was a trace of water attribute aura. As for the watercolored origin bead that had just entered the mysterious yellow bead, he had not seen it at all. Ning Cheng shook his head and did not care about it. This thing was something he had obtained by chance. As for what it had turned into inside the mysterious yellow bead, he did not have any interest in exploring it. He picked up the talisman wrapped around the watercolored origin bead on the ground and swept it with his spiritual consciousness. A moment later, Ning Cheng's hands almost trembled with excitement. He did not expect that after searching for a long time, this talisman wrapped around the origin bead would turn out to be the most precious. It turned out to be a rank 8 blood escape talisman. Not to mention holding a rank 8 blood escape talisman in his hand, Ning Cheng had never even heard of such a thing. This talisman could save his life in any situation. With his current strength, he could not directly use this talisman. He could only refine it first, and then drop a drop of his blood on it. Good stuff, good stuff. Ning Cheng spoke a few words in succession, and immediately began to refine the blood escape talisman in his hand. These people truly were rich, but he did not know where they kept their good things. Just a random blood escape talisman wrapped around something, made him feel that it was an unprecedented treasure. On a lake dozens of miles away from the town, a beautiful woman stopped taking off her clothes. She suddenly stood up in shock and spoke up in disbelief, "Was that the origin aura just now?" The next moment, she grabbed the cloak that she had already taken off and instantly left the lake. Compared to the origin aura, taking a bath was simply insignificant. Ning Cheng put away the refined blood escape talisman and gave out a sigh of relief in his heart. Now was the time to leave this inn. If he stayed here, maybe that woman would really find this place. Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, can I come in? Meng Jingxiu's voice came from outside the door. Ning Cheng was just about to look for Meng Jingxiu when he quickly spoke up, you can come in, I feel much better now. Meng Jingxiu entered Ning Cheng's room and handed the ring in her hand to Ning Cheng and spoke, Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, this is Si Kong Kai's ring. Ning Cheng took the ring and swept it with his spiritual consciousness. He found that the ring unexpectedly had several layers of restrictions. He put away the ring but did not immediately refine it. Instead, he looked at Meng Jingxiu and spoke, we have to leave this place. That bitch might find this place. And, that woman is really terrifying. She simply does not take other people's lives seriously. Meng Jingxiu recalled the scene of that woman killing that green-robed woman, and spoke with a somewhat cold voice. Ning Cheng gave an "n" sound and spoke, birds of a feather really do flock together. Just looking at that woman and Si Kong Kai, I can already tell that they are not good people. If I had the cultivation of profound congealing realm, I would definitely not let go of that bitch. Saying that, Ning Cheng once again turned to Meng Jingxiu and spoke, I'm going to take a look at that woman from the Wu Nian Academy, and see if I can wake her up. Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu arrived at another room. That purple-robed woman from the Wu Nian Academy was still in a coma. Meng Jingxiu still wore a veil over her face, presumably because this purple-robed woman was simply too beautiful. Ning Cheng was not polite at all, as his hand directly fell on the chest of this purple-robed woman, as he swept out with his spiritual sense. At this time, he had to quickly wake this woman up, and then escape with his life was the most important thing. How could he still care about other things? Moreover, Ning Cheng also knew that Meng Jingxiu was not a talkative person, so when he woke up this purple-robed woman, he knew that Meng Jingxiu would definitely not speak about such details. Meng Jingxiu saw Ning Cheng's hand on the chest of that purple-robed woman. As he leaned over to pay close attention to her, she suddenly thought of Si Kong Kai's actions on that green-robed woman's body, causing her face to suddenly turn red. Her expression suddenly became somewhat bashful, even her heartbeat started to accelerate a bit. At this time, the door to the room was suddenly kicked open, as a beautiful woman stood in the doorway and stared at Meng Jingxiu in a daze. Mother. Meng Jingxiu looked at this middle-aged beautiful woman and immediately recognized her. When her mother left her, she was already 9 years old. Even after all these years, her mother's appearance had not changed even the slightest bit. You are Xiu. The middle-aged beautiful woman called out in surprise. She had followed the origin aura to look for it, but she did not find the origin aura, but instead found her daughter. When she left her daughter was already 9 years old. A girl changes 18 times between childhood and womanhood. When she saw Meng Jingxiu, she was somewhat suspicious, but now that Meng Jingxiu took the initiative to call her mother, she immediately recognized her. Ning Cheng did not expect that this beautiful woman who kicked the door would be Meng Jingxiu's mother. He had thought that it would be very difficult for Meng Jingxiu to find her parents, but he did not think that she would find them so easily. Moreover, they had not even reached the Shihai city. What Ning Cheng did not expect was that when this beautiful woman met her daughter, the first thing she did was not speak to her daughter with excitement, but rather stared at Ning Cheng with an angry glare. Good boy, you dare to lie to my daughter. Ning Cheng looked at this middle-aged beautiful woman in bewilderment, as he spoke in his heart, when did I lie to your daughter? Meng Jingxiu, seeing that her mother was being unreasonable, quickly spoke up, Mother, it's not like that, this is senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, he took care of me a lot along the way. Since he took care of you a lot, then he should be your man, why would he be so lovey-dovey with other women? This pervert, I hate perverts the most. The middle-aged beautiful woman did not know any reason, as her tone became more and more annoyed. Meng Jingxiu almost cried. as she hurriedly explained, "It's not like that, there is nothing between me and senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng. Humph, this old mother is a person who has experienced it. Look at your broken senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, his face is filled with a coquettish look, don't think that I can't see it." Ning Cheng's head was full of sweat. What kind of mother was this? How could she be such a high-class person? How could she not see her daughter for so many years? As soon as she saw her daughter's face, she would speak of her daughter in such a manner. Meng Jingxiu finally could not stand this kind of blow, as she burst into tears, before she turned around and escaped from the room. The middle-aged beautiful woman seemed to realize that her words were a bit too heavy, as she patted her head, before she turned around and chased after her. But when she reached the door, she stopped, as she turned back and stared at Ning Cheng and spoke, "You dare to have a foot in two boats, you are sorry to my daughter, I will immediately cut off your little bird." Chapter 162. Looking at this woman leave, Ning Cheng couldn't help but think in his heart that she was a very tough woman, although he could not see anything from her appearance. For this Meng Jingxiu to have such an old mother, it could be considered as hitting the jackpot. Ning Cheng ignored the woman who just left, and continued to check on the purple-robed woman's situation. However, he could see that this woman's cultivation was definitely higher than Si Kong Kai's, and not just by a little bit. The middle-aged beautiful woman soon caught up with Meng Jingxiu. Seeing her mother chasing after her, Meng Jingxiu also stopped running away, and just kept on crying. How could she say something like that? She was too embarrassing. Seeing that her daughter was only crying and not speaking, the beautiful middle-aged woman had no choice but to speak. "I did not feel at ease with you, and was prepared to go back to the Hua continent to bring you here. You know, I can't bear to part with your father. You also came here with that brat, so you should know that a man can't do without a woman by his side." Speaking till here, the middle-aged beautiful woman once again thought of Ning Cheng and that purple-robed woman, as she changed the subject and spoke with a hateful tone, "Xiu, you can rest assured, this mother has already warned that kid, if he dares to step on two boats, then this mother will cut off his little bird." When Meng Jingxiu heard her mother speak like this, she cried even more fiercely. How did she end up with such an old mother? Did she still want to live? The middle-aged beautiful woman saw that her daughter, who had just met her, was crying non-stop, and panicked. "I have already said it, senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng and I are just fellow apprentice brothers and sisters, there is simply no relationship between us. If you insist on saying such things, then you will force me to my death." Fortunately, Meng Jingxiu knew her mother's temperament, and explained while crying. The middle-aged beautiful woman sighed in her heart. She was confident that her daughter's previous expression was not wrong. But since her daughter had spoken in such a manner, she also knew that it would not be good for her to continue to kill her, and said, "Since that is the case, then you come with me. Do you want to go and greet your senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng?" Meng Jingxiu said while crying, "How could I still have the face to see senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng? I. Woo. Seeing this, the middle-aged beautiful woman had no choice but to take her daughter, bring out a spaceship and instantly leave the town. Although Meng Jingxiu's mother chased after her, Ning Cheng was not worried at all. Even if Meng Jingxiu's mother was an outrageous character, she was still her mother. He was just about to continue using his spiritual consciousness to check the condition of this purple-robed woman's body when this purple-robed woman suddenly opened her eyes. When she saw Ning Cheng's hand on her chest, she immediately screamed and immediately brought out her flying sword to kill Ning Cheng. Unfortunately, she still couldn't use her divine sense, so there was no way for her to summon her flying sword. "You're awake, that's for the best." Ning Cheng gave an awkward smile, as he quickly took his hand off the purple-robed woman's chest. You. The woman in the purple dress was so angry that she couldn't even say a complete sentence. After a long while, she finally spat out a sentence, "You're so shameless, bastard." Ning Cheng's face sank. This woman had not even figured out what was going on, and had even opened her mouth to scold him. In order to save her, he had almost lost his life. He did not expect this woman to thank him. Was it so good to have a bigger sect? Who's shameless? Looking at you, you still look like a person, how come your words are just like a fart? Ning Cheng did not hesitate to retort, he was not a good person. This purple-robed woman did not have any relationship with him, on the contrary, he had even saved her. You shamelessly touched me a moment ago. The words that followed, the purple-robed woman really couldn't say it out. But she was completely unaware of the fact that she had only said half of it, which was even more misleading. Ning Cheng snorted and said, touch you? Are you very easy to touch? I also said that you used your chest to touch my hand. Saying these words, Ning Cheng also felt that he was a bit shameless. However, this woman had opened her mouth to scold his benefactor, which made him feel very uncomfortable in his heart. You! The purple-robed woman's face turned red with anger, even the blood in her body started to flow faster. Ning Cheng knew that he could not continue to speak, this woman was completely unable to distinguish between right and wrong. Only a person who was used to thinking that they were infallible would act like this, for the average person, they would ask why they were here. Now that you're awake, I want to ask you. Ning Cheng had not yet asked about Yu Ying and the others, when the already broken room was once again kicked open. A Taoist priestess with a face full of anger rushed in, this Taoist priestess was surrounded by a murderous aura, as if she was about to devour someone. Master, save me. When the purple-robed woman saw this Taoist priestess, she immediately cried out. Ning Cheng quickly tried to explain, but he had only spoken a single word, when this Taoist priestess immediately threw the horsetail whisk towards Ning Cheng. This time she obviously did not use her full strength, but rather went straight towards Ning Cheng's dantian. Ning Cheng's heart sank, he did not think that this Taoist priestess did not want to kill him, this person wanted to destroy his dantian first, and then slowly cook him up. These people relied on their higher cultivation, and simply did not want to listen to people's explanations. Once his dantian was destroyed, then what kind of fart would he need to explain? Even if this Taoist priestess knew that he was wrongly accused, at most she would just give an "oh" sound, and would absolutely not help him restore his dantian, not to mention that this Taoist priestess was not able to restore his dantian. Ning Cheng could be said to have seen through these people. Ning Cheng forcibly brought out his spear, and in a twinkling of an eye it transformed into 36 profound ice spears, while at the same time his body struggled to move a bit. The 30 profound ice spear shadows under the Taoist priestess horsetail whisk had not yet completed their formation, when they were directly dispersed by this Taoist priestess, even the broken spear in his hands was directly sent flying by this horsetail whisk. The horsetail whisk only paused for half a breath of time, before it directly exploded onto Ning Cheng's chest. Ning Cheng crazily spurted out a mouthful of blood, as he smashed through the roof of the room. He had not smashed through the roof by himself, rather it was because of the formidable strength of this Taoist priestess horsetail whisk. Ning Cheng felt as if his internal organs were on the verge of breaking apart, this body did not even belong to him anymore. Ning Cheng knew that his previous injuries had not yet healed, but this time he had suffered an even more serious injury. This Taoist priestess cultivation was definitely higher than Meng Jingxiu's mother's cultivation, as such he did not dare to continue to explain to this Taoist priestess, as he did not hesitate to take out the rank 8 blood-escaping talisman. At this time his whole body was covered in blood, the escaping talisman did not require him to use his blood to activate it, as once he took it out, it would instantly activate. A red light flashed, and at this moment Ning Cheng disappeared without a trace. Hey, unexpectedly there is such a high-level escaping talisman, it really is a bargain for you. The Taoist priestess found that Ning Cheng had disappeared, and was somewhat unwilling to return to the room. Wrapped up by the blood-escaping talisman, Ning Cheng found that he was completely unconscious. He was not even able to release the slightest bit of his spiritual consciousness, as his whole body was in a chaotic state. He did not know for how long, but Ning Cheng was thrown down by a tremendous force, as he fell onto the side of an ancient road with a plop sound. Ning Qing struggled to get up, as he felt some sadness in his heart. This was the fate of those without strength, regardless of whether they were reasonable or not. These cultivators who thought of themselves as aloof and remote, did not even give him the opportunity to explain himself. If he had not obtained a blood-escaping talisman, then he would have already died. This made Ning Qing think of the story of the farmer and the snake. He was that sad farmer, but it was a pity that he had just obtained a blood-escaping talisman, and had not even warmed up when he used it. Ning Qing sat in the same place for more than half an hour, before he stood up shakily. His injuries were like snow on top of snow. This made him even more eager to learn alchemy, and also to improve his own cultivation. There was a pile of spiritual grasses inside his storage ring, but he was unable to turn them into pills. There was also a pile of spirit stones, but there was no way for him to turn them into his cultivation. Ning Qing checked his own injuries. His 5 internal organs were injured, but fortunately he managed to avoid his dantian in time. Moreover, that Taoist priestess only intended to break his dantian first, and then slowly concoct it. Otherwise, even if he had the blood-escaping talisman, he would not be able to use it. Carefully taking out the amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence, he drank a mouthful. The amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence was used to repair the meridians. Ning Qing really did not have any pills, as such he had to use this precious thing to repair his 5 internal organs. After drinking the amethyst heaven-colored glaze essence, the burning feeling in his 5 internal organs gradually dissipated, although he was still unable to gather his true essence, but Ning Qing knew that his injuries had once again begun to slowly recover. The mysterious yellow origin was simply too heaven-defying. It seemed that as long as he did not die, and was given a certain amount of time, he would be able to restore his injuries. As Ning Qing stood alone on this ancient road, he was even more concerned about Luofei in his heart. The purple-robed woman's stunning appearance had shocked him. If he said that he was not even a little bit moved by such a beautiful woman, then he would just be lying to himself. But after experiencing this matter, he came to know that only Luofei would unconditionally believe in him. Only Luofei would sit down and give him the opportunity to explain himself. Even if Luofei saw what he had done, she would definitely wait for him to slowly explain himself to her. I must quickly return to the Hua continent. Ning Qing clenched his fists as he thought to himself. A beast carriage with a heavy axle was approaching from afar. Ning Qing stood on the side of the road, and in just a short while, the beast carriage stopped by Ning Qing's side. The person driving the carriage was an old man in his 50s, his skin was tanned by the sun. At a glance one could tell that he had been driving the carriage all year round. Does this little brother need any help? This old man saw Ning Qing standing on the side of the road covered in blood, as he cautiously asked. Ning Qing saw the worried expression in the old man's eyes, and quickly spoke, "Thank you, old uncle, I was with a caravan when we met some bandits. Although I managed to escape, but I was injured, and now I am lost. I don't know if old uncle knows about the Changyamo city and the Shihai city." Hearing Ning Qing say that he was with a caravan, and also met some bandits, the eyes of the old man driving the carriage clearly relaxed. He was sure that Ning Qing was not a cultivator, as cultivators would not follow a caravan. The Changyamo city is very far from here. Even the Shihai city is also very far away. My son and I will send the clear light stones to the Taiwan Sea town, where there are merchant ships going out to sea, and our clear light stones are given to the merchant ships. If this little brother wants to go to the Taiwan Sea town, then you can come with us. The old man spoke in a very enthusiastic manner. At this time a dark-skinned youth jumped out from the back of the carriage. He looked to be in his 20s, and looked very shy. Ning Qing quickly cupped his fists and said, "My name is Ning Xiaoqing, I have heard of the Taiwan Sea town. The caravan has already dispersed, and I will go to the Taiwan Sea town." As Ning Qing spoke, he saw that the back of the carriage was indeed filled with a lot of clear light stones. The clear light stones were not a material, and could only emit light. It seems that these clear light stones were dug out by the father and son pair, and were prepared to be sent to the Taiwan Sea town to be sold to the caravan. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.